It's a Danish derby to open up the day here at Flashpoint 3. Heroic and Astralis are colliding in not only a battle for national pride, but to progress through the lower bracket gauntlet and claim those all-important RMR points. Of course, joining me to be delving into this one, the lovely Launders and the wonderful Maui. So, gentlemen, how are we viewing these two teams coming into this, considering we are now in the depths of the lower bracket here at Flashpoint?
Is it my birthday now that your birthday's over?
Yeah, we can do that.
And then when's your birthday?
The next day, tomorrow.
No, I mean my birthday until July 24th. That's my birthday.
Oh, mine's July 20th.
Okay, it's your birthday then
Yeah.
now.
Oh, no. So, it's, yeah, your birthday now.
Okay.
Then you only get 4 days.
Yeah, what the hell? I don't like this.
That's not fair.
Who came up with this idea? This is beef right here. Astralis versus Heroic. I think, Glaive has a lot of respect for KD, and he always expresses that on social media. But I think that also means that he's like, we obviously wants to prove he's better and make sure that he's always on top and whatever. And they've got this new lineup itch that they've got to fix. And the last time they played, it was very one-sided.
Yeah, I think that Heroic right now have kind of more to lose than Astralis in this matchup. But that being said, I'm sure they're not going to worry about the pressure too much. The last time that they played against each other, Astralis got a combined 12 rounds over 2 different maps. So there's a lot of reasons why Heroic are the heavy favorites going into this game. But the Astralis that we've seen so far at Flashpoint 3 has looked a little bit sharper than that at DreamHack Masters.
So where do you think the main issues were back at DreamHack Masters for Astralis that prevented them from really getting that many rounds on the board?
His name was Tessus, and he definitely had his glasses on for that game. That was an insane performance. I want to say it was like a flash in the pan. We look at this event, and Tessus is just right back to his old tricks. He was a standout in 2020, 2021, just as good, even better in a lot of ways. And what's scary is kind of like a Magisk, who's also been playing well. And I think we talk about that in a second. But they're both like doing a lot of the entry work and very, very good first bullet accuracy and just super fast.
Were there any other issues that you kind of saw, Maui, from watching that game for Astralis? Do you feel like it was just kind of any kind of teething issues for them against Heroic?
I think that Heroic structure paid off for them in a lot of situations, especially when I think back to the nuke loss for Astralis on it. It felt like Heroic were going outside a lot, and they were getting a lot of mileage out of it. So Glaive, he needs to be a general out there a little bit more. I think he needs to be able to control the situations a little bit better and relay to his teammates what would be the necessary counters when he sees the variety of Heroic plays. I'm not sure. I mean, we might see Nuke in the veto today. I think it's pretty likely, actually. So we'll see if he's able to find the counters. And I'm sure if any team's able to prep, if any team's able to find the anti-strat necessary in order to win the rematch, it would probably be Astralis, including Sonic.
Yeah. And that point about Nuke, it stands out the most with Glaive because he's the guy who plays outside, and he kind of like, we saw Frozen's like fantastic performance or whatever the other day. Glaive does the exact same thing where he tries on CT side to control outside, and like he is the counter in a lot of senses. He has all the info, first opening kill, puts all the pressure on, rotates like crazy, and that's when you see his brain working the most.
Maui said that you feel like the pressure is on a little bit more for the side of Heroic. Would you agree with that same sentiment?
I actually don't agree. I think that the pressure is more on for Astralis. This is since they've earned some respect this tournament with Bubsky. They had the same thing, with Esatag, where they went through and just won Pro League, and they've just had this habit of proving that when they've got like the right roster move, they can make it work really quickly. And I think Glaive right now is a bit in an insecure position, a little bit vulnerable in his career, where he's already proved a lot, of course. I mean, but he's still playing, and since he's still actively on the team and playing every single day, I think playing and losing, it just doesn't make sense. And I feel like right now there's a lot of questions about him and his individual performance, and he's also brought that up. And so when I see some of the game plans that have come in, I've seen Astralis already change a lot for this tournament. I see a different fire, and I see them trying really hard to get Bubsky integrated into the lineup. I think they've checked that box. I think the individual level has come up for Glaive, and now they've got to win some of the losses that marked the kind of end of the era for Astralis in this year, and one of those was a really, really one-sided affair versus Heroic at DreamHack Masters.
Yeah, we touched on the maps. We're going to get the veto up to see exactly what we're going to be playing out on. You said you believe Nuke is still going to be in this one like we saw last time.
I think Heroic have heavily been leaning on that. The veto should be the permabans of both teams, Dusty for Heroic, Mirage for Astralis, and I think Heroic should probably be going for Nuke here. There's a chance we just see they run it back and Astralis go for that Inferno pick once again. but we'll see if they want to change things up because they usually do have some idea of what they need to change. And okay, Overpass, and that's kind of interesting because Astralis just played these 2 maps against Mouse, and they lost both of them to Mouse. But that might be kind of a warm-up game for them. They might think that.
And they're also thinking about the rematch, or of course, the last time they played, they picked Inferno versus Heroic. They got 16-8'd, so they had Overpass in the veto, like you're saying, at the end. So at least now they get to basically, they're forced to at least get to Overpass to see if that was the right place to go for a 3rd map.
So do you think that Inferno will see that coming out as potentially the 3rd?
It's a good handshake map between the both of them. It's possible. I don't think it would go to Train. Yeah. They probably don't want to be working on Train as much, given that they have Bubsky in the lineup now. So yeah, this is a pretty solid 3-map series. It's the same 3 maps, but in a different order from the previous time that they faced off against each other.
Yeah, and if we're looking back to Nuke just quickly as well, obviously as you were saying, 16-6 loss for the side of Astralis. Anything that you were hoping they're going to be changing coming into the first map?
Yeah, I'm always. Glaive is definitely my favorite IGL for when I watch. Even when things don't work out well, you can really just see exactly what he's trying to do with the team, and everyone trusts each other to make the right decision. So whenever the game plan is adapted in a new game, there's so much to learn with the way that they play. Whether or not it'll work is another question. A lot of IGLs have actually said that they found it very hard to innovate on Nuke of all maps, which is kind of interesting because the variety of outside smokes of even though there's so many, it appears there's only so many kinds of plays that can come out of it, and go lower, go upper, and whatever, and some of the squeaky pressure. So it might be hard to innovate past how Glaive gets info outside, but for me this comes down to how well he plays that position outside. If he gets damage on the cross, if he's able to get info on the outside plays and call them out in those positions, and just like the other day where we saw G2 shut down Cadian, I think that has to be a focal point of their game plan as well. Sonic was actually on record as saying that part of their game plan in preparing for any team is to look at their star players' demos more than anything else and try to counter them.
Well, we've also got our Unicorn odds up on the screen as well. And I think those are some pretty good odds for Astralis, considering, we're looking at Heroic as potentially being the tournament favorites. But still, I don't think Astralis are down and out of this matchup.
Oh, yeah. I did pick, even despite these odds, I actually still picked Heroic.
Okay.
Yeah, because I really do feel strongly that I just believe in the Heroic system, and I don't know if there's enough edges here for Astralis to get over them. And last time was so convincing that I just have a hard time picking against Heroic, especially after yesterday's game. I really believe that the fact that they beat Vitality so easily when Vitality looked like they were trending up a little bit again just shows me that Heroic are in really good form.
Yeah, no, it did look very easy as well. Somebody else who's always easy is James. Not you, Lex. I'll be nice to you. Who have you got for this one, James?
It applies both ways.
I am lost for words, Freya.
25, man.
That's it. I know. Unhinged Freya. Everything Launda said, we're kind of on the same wavelength this week, I think. What we witnessed yesterday, I'm not trying to pick against.
Hopefully we both don't have 0 points then.
Yeah. I love picking Astralis. I always like picking Astralis, but I said I'd ride with them until they lost. But Heroic, they're too strong, man. It's their aggression and their timing of the aggression. They just know when to take liberties, and it's great to watch. And I think that is the biggest factor across the team. You can have your star players, but I think that they all know, they're all on the same wavelength, and they just know when to just take the piss.
Yeah. I actually just rewatched the DreamHack Masters match that Launders referenced. It was less than a month ago, actually. These two teams just met up. And it was a pretty one-sided affair. It was a Heroic frag movie from start to finish. So I dumped all my points on Heroic here.
Oh, you're not feeling super confident though, James? Or are you feeling more confident for the match later?
Okay, so the 250 is because I think that Astralis could win this because Astralis. I do fancy Heroic though, but I think that there's more money to be made with a bigger investment in match number 2.
Interesting stuff. Well, we'll be checking back in with you very shortly when we delve into the game, but I do need to get our analyst desk predictions as well. You kind of alluded to it. You're going with Heroic.
Yeah, I threw 500 on Heroic here. I just feel strongly that they'll win, even though the odds are very tasty for Astralis.
Yeah, I went for Heroic as well. I feel like there's only so much you can do with anti-stratting and prep work for Sonic and Glaive here, and I feel like they would have to have some pretty big changes in order to actually topple the mountain that is Heroic in this one.
Yeah, I'm also going with Heroic across the board. I wonder if anybody did pick Astralis. I don't know. We'll catch up with everybody.
Wouldn't be a bad bet.
No,
sure.
no,
The
it definitely
odds are
wouldn't
really
be.
good.
Yeah, the odds were very decent indeed. But let's throw it on over to our first map of the series. It's going to be Nuke, and it's James and Lex guiding you on through it.
Jax.
Well then, Heroic, I think, have earned everybody's respect at this point. Their sheer brute force, the way they destroy teams is something that demands respect, and I think it's about time they got that respect. Everybody going the way of Heroic, more or less, I think makes sense. Astralis, of course, not a weak team by any means, but Heroic really are looking more like the Goliath than the David, but in this story, the Goliath tends to win.
Yeah, Heroic really just seems like, even at their worst, they're still one of the strongest teams at this event, for sure. And Astralis, I mean, that showing against Mouse Sports the other day was a little alarming, considering really was a one-sided affair, start to finish. That said, early outside play from Heroic. We got 4 players down secret.
Indeed we do. And here's that late lurk from Stown, keeping Lobby honest in the meantime. Before he pushes. There's the Super Mario Brothers from Cadia. Not normally seen in the double doors, but impressive jumping. So while Storm has a lot to do here in this 1 versus 4, actually we'll see if he can do this. He has a lot of time on the clock here, and he still has a 1 versus 1. Zipex falling back with the Julies. See how Zipex isn't taking the fight. He doesn't need to fight to the death there, and if he can avoid it, then he can abuse the numbers with his teammates. In a 4 versus 1, there's no need for him to offer a 1 versus 1, and you can see the rest of Astralis now combining together to fight 3 versus 1.
Yeah, there's a firing squad on that staircase.
This is something that I would love people, especially in America, to learn. Fight together. Abuse the numbers.
Are you, like, salty about your Face It experience here in America? Is that what this is?
No. I've got all that elo back. I won 6 games in a Rolex. We had a disastrous run. I was very tired, though. But also, I think people just playing above my level in terms of aiming. But
we had a winning streak going. What do you mean? We lost our last game. That's...
Well, I got 6. I won 6 games in a row. I had to claw it back.
Okay.
With the basement dwellers. But yeah, just not giving, because I feel like in North America, right, people like to oh, I see a fight, let me take that fight, without thinking about the purpose of that fight. So that was a great example, at least for like the lower levels, of how you are efficient and don't give chances to your opponent to clutch the round for free.
Wise words.
Especially post-plant, people like to peek and like, look, where is this guy? It's like, let's just chill out here and make it hard for him to win the round. Not easy. See the force buy from Heroic. Cadian with the scout on nuke. I'd be very impressed if he get work done with that. Tesses and Refresh, though, with their Desert Eagles will certainly get work done. And it begins. The strength of Heroic starting to show. Debris trying to fall back. I think he tried to hit the ladder there and completely whiffed and held position instead. Well, the bomb is heading towards a plant on the B bomb site. Successful. There's Bubsky's just a little too high there. Don't forget that plant always crouches now.
Even with the equipment advantage, this is going to be such a little bit of a risky retake here for Astralis.
Yeah, are they throwing the good money after the bad? And at what point do they call it? Because now they've lost another player. Surely that is it. Bubsky, it's going to try and make people die, I think. Getting a smoke and Vite to push from Tesses. But we can see there is some containment here. Dupree just holding on now, trying to thin the numbers. The more kills he gets, the less weapons are taken away. Of course, he gets 1 deked as well. This Heroic team is
so good.
It's very beastly.
Which goes from bad to worse. I think maybe we could escape with 2 or 3 weapons for Astralis. It's not to be. Bubsky nearly escaping with that ump. That's not good. Hate to see that. But on the other side of that, you know, you could have potentially taken 2 or 3 Heroic players down at lower with you. Didn't end up panning out. 1 each, and just a slow contact round from Heroic towards ramp yields big results.
Refresh, very important player for Heroic. All the pieces, they really have a completed puzzle here in Heroic. And again, you can just the way they play Counter-Strike from player to player, the way they push in. I suppose there's like an area you take for granted, like, you know, there's a scenario where it doesn't make sense to do X, so you expect Y or Z, but they will do X. And when you're in that place, I think mouse sports are there as well at the moment. When you're in that area where you can take liberties, it really gives you such an extra gear versus your opponents.
Yeah, it feels like the execution will always be there when Heroic needs it to be. So Play calls just always seem to be right. That said, early push towards Hell, wrapped around Acadian, finding the head onto Dupree. Yeah, and I think, you know, for this Heroic squad, they've got so much depth. I've spent a lot of time on the analyst desk in the past few days, weeks rather, I guess, James, and talk a lot about some of the other players on Heroic, but Refresh is a guy who gets given a lot of responsibility on their, especially on their T sides.
Yeah.
A lot of times either solely sending the misdirect with himself or leading an entry somewhere. Doesn't always pop off statistically, but...
Did they throw that bomb on the floor on purpose to
Bait the
give a
sound
sound
out.
cue
Oh,
towards
yeah.
B on the ramp? I'm thinking maybe they did.
Yeah,
So they've got
little
position
subtle
towards
things
heaven.
Little subtle things like that are so cool.
Yeah. So for those of you at home, if you drop a rifle on the floor or a pistol, it makes the same sound as the bomb dropping on the floor as well. So sometimes you might see like a lurker on Banana of Inferno drop a weapon on the floor to suggest it's the bomb when the real push is heading towards the other bomb site. You know, the pros will be more used to it, so it won't be too common that it works in a professional match, but something for you to do at home. You heard the sound there.
Yeah, there's definitely a point when it just becomes so obvious. It's like, ha,
Yeah.
I've fallen for that.
It's that one or the one step you make in a lurker position.
Oh, yeah.
That's it was an accident. But
That's
wasn't
more
really.
effective because you think, oh, man, there must be 4 guys grouped up right here.
Yep.
Who's the idiot that just made a step? But, I mean, the Astralis was already on their way towards lower, and that may have just convinced them for sure. So they like to save those, you know, a couple of Deagles, the UMP, a scout, sets of armor. So still not in a buy situation here for Astralis, but honestly, coming into Nuke at least, both of these teams extremely comfortable on this map. Astralis almost always picking Nuke, at least in the most recent series. But, you know, kind of as the casters, or sorry, excuse me, the analysts alluded to over on the desk, this last time these two teams met was a very one-sided Heroic rout. So for Astralis, this is, you expect to see maybe some changes. You expect to see maybe some refined gameplay. Bubsky getting tested here at upper.
Oh,
Flame
what?
gets the first.
Flame with a scout no scope at such range. That's not the opening kill you normally see, and this push isn't really going the way Heroic might have liked, and they're not going to be able to get rid of those rifles either. They will be collected at some point, I imagine, by Astralis, if they win this round at least, because we see the rotation is coming in from the ramp. So there's an opportunity for Heroic, but my God, this is a bad situation for them.
Glaive with a shotgun scout.
Interestingly, it doesn't seem to be clear to Astralis where exactly the remainder of Heroic are, as you see Zipex looking towards the B bomb site and Magisk and Secret, but both Heroic players are on the A bomb site. Now, they have to assume that somebody's in heaven, so this becomes a very strange situation where Astralis will probably clear out some map control while Heroic are waiting. Cadian's taking himself a nice angle, but with 40 seconds left, how long can he hold this for? If they play chicken and Astralis don't push first, then Heroic are probably going to lose this round because they'll be contained on the A bomb site. But there is the patience paying off for Cadian. Again, his game sense has just gone through the roof over these years. Great pacing from the team, picking up some utility on the way, some fishing from Magisk. And whereas the final player now looking to finish him off 15 seconds, and Cadian will deliver. However, we can see there's low HP on both players, and Zipex is creeping in through main, or mini if you're American. This would be quite the hold from Heroic, making it real hard. Oh, Cadian, he hasn't seen him, but the gun was spotted.
Oh.
That is a fantastic hold from them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so smart from Heroic. You have a man disadvantage, Astralis. You know, inferior weaponry, so you want to take some fights, but can't be too obvious about it. You can't necessarily have the luxury of faking a plant and holding, you know, one angle, because you've got Heaven, you've got main, you've got lobby to worry about. Any of those flanks are open to you, and you've only got 2 players to watch these angles. Cadian wisely just biding his time over there in lobby, holding for the inevitable flank. Gets the free one, and then the 2v2 was so much easier to manage at that point. As you know, there's nobody coming from lobby at least. So it's just a matter of isolating both those fights. Heroic take 3. And this will be the first bye here for Astralis. Well, I guess the second round, you know, if you're going to lose a couple logs, we'll call that one as well.
Feels like we've had a lot of rounds already.
Yeah.
But we really haven't. The game's barely started. but it doesn't necessarily feel that way. Nice to see Katie energetic. And again, those rounds are great examples of how, like, the depth of Heroic strategically and working together as well, to be able to just hold the line like that. And against a team like Astralis and catch them out, yeah, they're on the eco and so on, but they've basically outsmarted them in that respect.
I think that's honestly when they're at their strongest, is when you see Katie, and he's a guy that gets highlighted constantly because his rating is high, and he is the IGL of the team, you know, juggling multiple roles. He's got an op and handle at a time. But beyond that, I mean, just his confidence in his decision-making is what's so fun to watch come through in those 2vx situations, because you know he's sitting there communicating his ass off to his teammates. You know, there's a lot that's going on in those situations and a lot that's left unsaid. And that's where, like, team chemistry and experience with playing with your teammates really starts to shine. And, I mean, these are Astralis players when you're – it's not quite the face-it pug that we were talking about at the beginning of this game. Like, these are world-class opponents. They know the right move. And yet Cadian just so sure of his next step.
He's played the game for this long, right? And if I do a search for Cadian on the Steam market, I only get stickers from one major. So despite how long his career has been, there's so much further to go at this point. It's super awesome. I'm definitely
he's definitely paid his dues, you know?
Yeah.
Time.
It's awesome. In a weird way, I'm proud of him, like I'm his dad or something. It's I know we're talking all Heroic, but it's just like, I don't know, I just can't get over his you know, for how many years ago I first met him, from watching him play in our offices and stuff, it's just, it's really awesome. I really hope they do a profile on Cadian for this major.
It was cool for me because, you know, I think one of the last times that I was cast in Counter-Strike, and this is years ago now, he was in ESEA Premier, you know, MDL, kind of like Tier 2 EU scene. And he came over to America, came over to California, and played at I guess MDL Global Challenge and won it. I got to interview him and hand him his trophy, and it was really cool to come back after all this time and see him basically at the top Counter-Strike. I mean, that is so cool to me that, you know, stay on the grind, man.
Absolutely, he's the Great White Hope. That's what he is, the Great White Hope. He's the GWH. And then there's the man Zipex.
Legend in his own right.
Absolutely. He is he's the man you can all learn from. Watch the demos. I still have I have a Zipex tribute gun. What's it? It's the yellow M4A4.
Buzzkill?
And it's, I think. And it's called the Clutch Minister. And it has Zipex stickers from different majors on it, and it looks sublime.
Fire,
I must say, it looks sublime. But I want to see more Cadian stickers in the game. I think I have an Oscar sticker on my AWP Lightning at the back, which is actually good because the lightning kind of goes through where his name is, so it's quite nice. But I'm kind of leaning towards putting a Cadian sticker on there as well. Somewhere. Your
skin game is, as the kids might describe it, off the chain. Fire skins, dude. I was going through your inventory when we were playing the other night and was impressed.
I've got rid of a lot of stuff.
Fair.
But there is an aesthetic game going on. CT side is red.
Yeah, and I guess kind of the segue that I was going to lead into there where you flipped off the skins, but some of these pros, man, they need to hire a skin advisor, somebody to fix that. See, that's a beautiful, oh man, look at that.
Marble fade.
Yeah.
Just clean things up a bit.
Yes.
Well then, let's see what this first buy round is going to look like for both squads. No sniper rifles this time, no scouts, no scopes from Clave, jiggling from Cade, and he's like, whoop, I'm out of there. He loses only 11 HP. Lucky to get away with that one. I suppose he was shot through the glass. Again, you can, if you're in the middle of the rafters on A, you can throw a HE into that position. You see it. I'm not sure if you actually see it, that particular one, but you do see grenades fly up there. Anyway, Astralis have the rifles, but they don't have much in the name of utility. At this point, in minute 14, they've got one flash and two smokes. Glaive heading forwards now. And speaking of the proactiveness and taking liberties, he's certainly doing that here.
That's a big read right here. Knows that they're not outside, presses the info, and this is the perfect timing to at least let his teammates know that this is not going the way of outside, not towards yard. So upper got to be hitting in a moment here.
Oh! One problem is having no grenades. Bubsky with a multi-frag looking for a third. The push is coming in towards A, and maybe A is the ultimate place now with those frags. Molly towards the high ground. We'll see how close Glaive is on the flank. Zipex, well, there's how close Glaive is. Makes it a 3 versus 2 immediately. He's down. Has an inferior angle to Dupree, leaving Refresh in a 1 versus 3. Trying to isolate the fight. The first one to Zipex, trying to go for the transfer as well. Some damage, but no frags. And indeed, the information was there for Astralis. Despite getting popped on the entry to the site, they managed to turn it around.
Yeah, they're able to keep 3 weapons as well. Beautiful round from Astralis. I mean, this starts really with that read from Glaive outside. You know, pressing up towards red box at yard. And Bubsky able to grab 2 on the hold, even deal some damage to the third. Consider, I think it was Magic's getting destroyed on the entry. Yeah, it was a nice two-piece there from him. Makes this retake possible, and it was just Dupree and Glaive coming back through lobby to clean things up. And I think Astralis is going to need that throughout this game. Heroic does like to throw the smokes outside, take control of yard, chill out for a second, re-hit it. They're very good at manipulating rotations in that way, so as long as Glaive is proactive, able to find the information early, Cadian damage from Glaive at that yard position.
Well, that's a lot of information and a lot of presence, and that's a big name lost in the name of Astralis. Glaive getting dropped. 5 versus 4 situation for Heroic, who still have a boatload of utility. Plenty of Molotovs for an eventual execute, waiting out these smoke grenades at present. Tessus has seen the barrel of Dupree's gun, but Dupree will win the duel with a crouch peek here. Heroic now running down to the B bomb site.
Yeah, it was a big kill, but they're beating the rotations down here, James.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to be aware that Bubsky has made his way through. Does he go to the bomb plant? He does. He knows where it is immediately, looking for the trade. There's a minute on the clock here, so there isn't bomb plant pressure just yet. Heroic may need to find a kill or 2 before they try and plant the bomb, and indeed, Astralis continue the proactive play. Refresh looking for, he's seen the leg though. Oh my god, that's disgusting from Refresh, but he can't be expecting Dupree. Now, does he play for the bomb plant? You can see he's looking for the multi-frag, but as Refresh turns, he has to take the fight. Didn't particularly want to. He's down, knows exactly where Magisk is, which leaves Dupree on the site with the bomb. 30 seconds, trying to create some space for himself. Got to avoid the wall bangs as well. We can see Cadian creeping, but as he turns his corner, surely it's advantage Dupree. Maybe not. 4 rounds for Heroic as there's mad blocking on the stairs. That's quite a lot of friction there.
And that was almost a hero hold from Dupree at lower. I'm surprised that he wasn't at least even get a piece of Cadian there as he tucks his leg behind the door and swings the peek out. I didn't realize that kill was due to smoke over at Squeaky, but for Heroic, I mean, that first kill on the Glaive, so important. I mean, everything that I've spoken about concerning their ability to read Heroic's movements outside, it's just a lot more difficult to do when your point man's already down. So, but I mean, this is no easy job for him. It's going to be such a difficult CT side half, especially with the almost lack of help across the board that he doesn't receive, really. Starting things out with a nice 1D, though. Okay.
Well, that has escalated very quickly indeed. They can't afford to lose another player. That much is clear for Heroic. Got to be real careful about those tight angles. Talk about them a lot on train. Maybe for the last few times. But we can see it's pistols. There's no Kevlar. There's no utility. So if they can take a site and hold, if they can plant the bomb without losing a player, then I think they win this round. Not going to be the case, apparently. We've got Dupree showing presence in the heaven position. There's no utility left as well. There's no Molotovs to take that angle away.
It's another 2-on-3 and an anti-eco with Cadian and Tessus. This will be so dangerous, but Cadian ever in control, handling this well so far. Magisk will be the first to go up against both these players here, and he will fall.
Another test for Heroic. How do you survive in a poor situation? Interestingly, Astralis have dropped off the heaven area, and I would imagine that Heroic are probably going to go there, but surely not from the ladder. Got the brazen plays continue. You can see the different way people are going up and down the ladder these days. There's the flashbang. Cadian to create some space, and Tessus is there. It looks like they may do it again, Heroic. Sipex may look to hold a rifle now. We shall see what he chooses to do, but I'm loving these tests again to see how strong you are. Can you survive this scenario? Can you survive this scenario? Not many teams can turn these spots around. We've seen so many disaster rounds when the pistols have made things go to shit. But here we are.
Yeah, there's not always like obvious or easy options in these scenarios. Like, of course, us sitting here in spectator with X-ray on, you know, there's always seemingly, at least from a fan's perspective, a correct move, a perfect play. But you can't know that when you're in game sometimes, and Spec's able to get one on the outset, but Tessus will hang on to the AWP. But, you know, I think what impresses me most about Cadian and Heroic in these situations is really just the decisiveness of it. You know, just the old mantra, any decision is better than no decision. Well, immediately after they get that kill towards Mini onto Magisk, they make their way straight towards Hell to make their way up ladder, and there's no hesitation, there's no second guessing, they just go for it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
AWP persists for Cadian. We've got the Augs out for Astralis. Looking for that early pick. Glaive just moves forward to throw a grenade at the perfect time. Otherwise, he may have been done for. Cost Bubsky a lot of HP to make his way downstairs. Glaive not spraying just yet. If somebody's on top of the main spot there, you will see the shadow. That'll give him a slight warning. Always got to be aware of your own shadow. And indeed, Heroic have taken secret. 1 minute 20 for them to consider their options now. And for Astralis to react. We can see they've got a heavy focus, Astralis, on this lower area.
Yeah, and that's... Refresh is always the first guy down for Heroic towards secret. They usually just bide their time and hang out and wait a little bit, try and see what the reaction is from Astralis. And 3 players penned up over there. We saw very proactive rotations from Astralis, but it's mind games right here. Whether or not this is actually going to be a lower hit in this upper fake, it's got to sell it now.
$35 seconds. 37 seconds. Easily avoided pop flash. Glaive will leave the door open. He's got a good position to get a multi-frag, but indeed the real push is coming downstairs, and we can see so many Astralis players upstairs. What are they able to do? The bomb carrier has been dropped. That's got to be collected. They've got to commit to a bomb plant soon. There are problems towards the ramp, though. This one's falling to pieces. Glaive and Dupree with a flurry of kills, leaving Stan with not much to do. He was just holding the rotation through Seeker, and he'll be deleted as well. 4 players survive for Astralis. Superior position and winning their duels. Very important for them as they look to build on their CT side.
Yeah, got to build the economy up, got to get some momentum going, and that's a great way to do it. I mean, I like that play from Heroic. You blow open, you know, a hole in the defense, you get a few players down secret, and Cadian's just holding the rotations of their event, but little does he know there's already 3 Astralis players rotated down towards lower, towards ramp. And so, Magisk, Dupree, Zipex, everybody chiming in to silence the lower push and hold on for another round.
In they go. Bomb plant looks reasonable. Zipex may have a great spray, though. It'll make it difficult for them. Buying time as well for the rotation to come through, but he went a bit too far and exposed himself to 2 players. And that means a rifle's been collected. 4 players alive. This could prove problematic. Astralis will be slowed on the rotation by these Heroic players outside. Should be blown up, though, but Cadian is here as well. I don't know if they saw 2 players there. We'll see if Cadian can activate. Test this up close with that P250. Close to the headshot, not quite, though. And then it remained on Cadian on the way. Don't think anybody's going to be checking their 6-2 soon. Don't think they're at risk of losing the round. That smoke could actually help him. Oh my god, if he swing on the bomb diffuser! Oh. Well, looking to save the rifle, fair enough. Would have been interested to see where that one went, but it will be going in the way of Astralis.
Yeah, able to escape with a weapon, gets a few frags out of it. Would have been insane if he's able to get the spray through the smoke. There was, I think, 2 players on top of bomb.
Right.
Imagine suddenly there's only 1 player from Astralis left. Maybe cancel the defuse. That would be quite the fairy tale. Nevertheless, 5-4. Astralis grab another. That's 2 in a row for them, and they're building a bank. And this is the first time, I could be wrong, but I think this is the first time we've seen Dupree on the AWP, so whether or not he can make it bark towards yard, find anything for his team. There's no presence out there as of yet, but for Heroic, this has been a patience game from the get-go, and the outset already matches opening things up with 2 big AUG frags towards Squeaky.
Oh.
And smoking himself over at Asian Vent doesn't help things.
That's one to practice. Probably thinking that to himself.
Flip it, practice the lineup at home.
Pop flash into the smoke and a reposition. He's got Bubsky to hold the the Squeaky area. Excuse me. And down they go. Refresh dropping a molly behind him. And there'll be no fast chase from Astralis this time, who are in a much better position. A smoke to create some space and offer a bomb plant.
Look at this mid-game. They did this so cleanly. There's almost no damage on these players through the vent. Despite 2 players from Astralis guarding it. Now there's sure to be a brawl here at ramp.
Ooh, Shush barely alive. Just escaping there and really making up for it now. Suddenly it's a 2 versus 2. 3 alive for the post plant. Makes for a strong situation for Heroic. AWP collected, but Shush has lost his angle now. He was tagged as he was rounding the corner. Smoke to create some space, opting back for the AK once again, and just running distraction, but he doesn't have an angle. Tess says, or maybe he does. That should be enough. Magic's now stuck in no man's land, and he'll be hunted as well as he tries to run away. This is proving to be very expensive for Astralis. I don't think Magic makes it here.
What an absolute collapse. And this is just, how quickly did Heroic make this decision, corral all 3 players that were still alive in lobby, and commit to that play down vent to lower? I mean, there was a 5v3. Heroic had no positional advantage in this map whatsoever. And then, you know, I mean, it starts with these 2 Magic frags, of course. But just a beautiful reaction. I think there's 2 players stacked up towards Squeaky that swing back in. And it's Shush really just getting in the face of the players over towards ramp that stop any kind of early retake from Astralis. And that is just so painful. You had just started to build a bank if you're Astralis, and you almost look like this was a very doable half, maybe a 10-5, maybe a 9-6, and that's not out of the question yet. But, I mean, that was picture perfect out of Heroic. Figured talk things over now, and I mean, we had just seen Dupree get the AWP in his hands, and, well, that's gone now.
So much power in this facility. So they can play CS in the control room. Magic will opt for the auto shotgun. Not seeing as many shotguns as we used to on Nuke. JW, of course, being the first name that comes to mind. So many classic plays. Maybe we'll see one from Magic here. 10 for 6 at the moment. We'll need to deliver more. It's down with a nice angle. We saw a forward play from Bubsky there, maybe trying to make up for the shortcomings in their weaponry. But today won't be the day.
Now they know there's no op outside, and they just sprint down secret.
Cadian saying hello. That is a nice AWP, I must admit.
A lot of damage onto Heroic right now, though.
Again, they've got that lurker outside to limit the rotation. And if you expect that presence from a CT perspective, even if that guy isn't there sometimes, that can give the T's an extra man on occasion. If you just fear that there will be a lurker there. 54 seconds on the clock. Clave's got somewhere to be. Got an appointment to keep. Bearing in mind Zipex has this. Zipex with a scout? What?
Oh, this timing.
That very often. Oh, no. Great angles from Dupree. Tessa swinging to his doom, and seems the positioning from Astralis might prevail. Cadian's been firing shots from the secret position. The scope is heard as well, so Astralis have half the information. They know exactly where he is. They may not know he's the bomb carrier, though. But Magic may soon find out.
Yeah, 20 seconds. Probably going to look to save this, but Magic may be able to stop him from doing so. Whoa.
Nice.
Okay.
I need to know where his sense is. I might just ask him on Steam after the match.
Maybe there's a post-match interview. We can just holler at me for the settings. But hey, that was a beautiful round from Astralis. They dropped 2 towards lower early on, sensing that outside pressure. Nobody really overcommitted to a fight outside, which is, you know, keeping the numbers advantage in Nuke isn't always the easiest thing, especially if you have Glaive outside battling solo sometimes, but Dupree not even really being suspected by the side of Heroic, so he gets a free one. Doesn't need to overcommit to any fights, and that's something that Heroic really like to do on this map. Take secret control, and then on a timing, basically just back up out of it, hit somewhere else. Pinches through main and hell.
My God. Glaive pretty fast outside. Record time, you might say. There are 4 smoke grenades outside, and Refresh will be lurking around them with a Desert Eagle. Not much to lose. Wants to know how much the CTs know about the situation. Cadian still fishing with the AWP. Zipek's not showing just yet. He's got a soft angle. He'll peek at his own choice.
It's really interesting. Astralis doesn't even seem concerned that there could be players from Heroic potentially down there. Which, I mean, could be just a hard read. Maybe he had a gap in the smoke or something and knew. I don't think so, but...
Down where, sorry?
Down secret, down lower.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, that's just... I mean, Astralis isn't winning right now. But they're doing all the right things in terms of the reads on CT side. Whoa, Magisk almost getting the better end of Shush. Not to fall off of top hut, though. Not quite an upper commit yet. 48 seconds left on the clock.
Dupree with the scout now. Zipex will rotate to his position, sees upstairs, but again, be careful about the fight he takes, but Kane will patiently wait as his players move in. Magisk with 2, is that going to be enough? 3v3, awkward now for the player on the side, help is on the way though. Dupree trying to make a connection, and he really could have an impact here. Cadian still holding the top, you can see they're both ducking and diving and trying to avoid those shots. Refresh has a molly, but I'm not sure if he's got an angle to fire at the swing. Cadian whiffing now with the Goog near, 1 versus 3. Maybe time to fall back once again, already being looked for by Bubsky. And they'll finally get an upgrade for the scout, Astralis.
Nice hold. Starts with Magisk, I guess. Was top hut getting 2. Bubsky doing a really good job just staying alive there behind Silo. I mean, that's a really scary position. You know, if Cadian's able to deny those heaven rotations consistently, I mean, there's just nothing that Astralis can do to get back in that round. Instead, misses 1 or 2 of those shots, and that's all it really takes. Astralis tying things back up at 6. And more importantly, perhaps, this is going to be mostly a full save out of Heroic. You're going to see a P250 at most. And, I mean, that's just the efforts that Astralis has had to go to finally break the bank of Heroic and maybe build some of their own.
A shot to the chest versus a player with no Kevlar. With a scout, will be fatal. AWP even more so. Wow, that was some air strafing.
Oh man.
I can't do that. I don't know what kind of sense. He must be smashing his mouse all over his mouse pad. Okay, we got 2 kills for Heroic, and Down has got a bomb. He has been seen falling back.
We got to get you into Coach Lau's movement camp.
As long as I can use the space bar to jump.
You cannot. That is not what you should be using to jump.
We cannot be friends anymore.
Hey, it's okay.
Spacebar master race.
Talking about Quake, I'm spacebar all day. This game, oof. Inferior movement. 7-6, Astralis first time in this game taking the lead. And honestly, I mean, put my analyst hat on for a second. This has been a very impressive showing from Astralis in my eyes. I mean, strategically speaking, they are making all the right moves, and Heroic getting the better of them on some key rounds, breaking the bank of Astralis a couple times in the half. Has netted them 6. But 1 step ahead, Astralis, a lot of this comes off the back of Dupree and Glaive outside and what they've been able to do in terms of getting early information on Heroic. And here he is, we see it again.
I love this CT aggression. This is where I normally play outside from.
Yeah.
Red.
It's a brave spot.
Lovely shot from Dupree. Now, what kind of support does he have to escape this position? Should he want to? Maybe he'll just stay here now. He's dropped the bomb. He'll go back for a 3rd one. There it is. Test me, Dupree says. He's looking for more. Now he knows only 1 player can really be challenging him outside because Down's getting kills elsewhere. Open scene, Refresh, and there's his 4th one. Down in the lobby will be deleted by Bubsky. Beautiful confidence from Dupree. We still have snipers for Astralis.
Oh, yeah. And I think the one round that we really got, the potential showdown outside was there. Heroic didn't need to deal with it at all. So finally, Debris making it work outside, picking up 4 on the round. Well done to him. 8-6. Astralis in the lead. And Heroic for the final round of this half is going to be limited to just Deagles, Tech 9s, and a MAC 10 on down. Might just be a fast upper play here, James. Oh man, this is so close. And that's a wall bang, so he's got to know that there was another body in front of him.
He does indeed, and this is going to be absolutely messy now as Heroic try to engage Chaos with the numbers, but some of them are outside, some of them are downstairs. Shush looks to go and plant the bomb on the B-bomb site. There's rotation already. Needs to commit to that now.
He has no help as of yet.
I like how he stepped back to plant the bomb, and I wonder if it's in case of the potential wallbang from the A-bomb site with an AWP. Not going to happen today, though, as Squeaky is cleared. I don't know how much more there is in this final round for Heroic. We've got a flank now, and maybe there's a rifle to be collected by one of these players. Shush and refresh. Now it's down to refresh. Well, it looks like there'll be 9 rounds on the CT side of Nuke from Astralis, and that's not too shabby. I think it's pretty good, all things considering, especially versus Heroic. Who takes the second pistol? Find out after the break.
Astralis.
Collide with
Heroic.
Heroic. You are watching Flashpoint 3.
And we're back in black, back on the attack. It's time for Astralis to attack, actually, as the T's had a late string of rounds in the first half. And that gives them a 3-round lead at half-time. They move to the T side now with Glocks and Molotov. Smokes, flash, high explosive grenade, and bad intentions. Let's see what I have to offer. The likes of Heroic, who have a lot of players towards the ramp position, it looks like. But Astralis are headed outside. I never did get to mention the Super Mario Brothers thing when Cadian went through double doors, bouncing backwards, trying to avoid getting headshot. Pulled the crosshairs away from his team to allow him to spread into the bomb site. Something you see in tight choke points like on B does too. Now it's Astralis' turn to go in towards B. We can see Heroic are all over the shop. as we might say in the UK. And there's Magis jumping out immediately, opening kill for Astralis now. Dancing around the smoke grenade, 4 versus 2, close to 1. Shush 11 HP, that might be enough. They have a kit. And it seems they want to seize the opportunity for a frag here. That'll cost Dupree though. I respect the play. Well, they know where both players are now. They've spotted Cadian and Shush. I think they know that Shush is headshot, but it just gets worse for them. Suddenly we've got a 2v2 situation and Shush is rotating away to reset elsewhere. The jumping continues, but Cadian's ready for it. Shush has the kit. I imagine he'll join Cadian, stay close so that kit can come into play, and Glaver's wondering where this pistol round has gone. 30 HP and a decoy. Could use it as a fake flash. We'll see what he chooses to do. The footsteps start to be heard now. Smoke on the bomb and just heads to defuse it again. He has the kit, and Cadian has the angle if he can find Glaive. How about that then? A 2 versus 4 turnaround from Heroic in the CT pistol.
I'm not quite sure why they were delaying the plant. Maybe they thought, you know, Shush may have been way closer at ramp, and they thought they could, you know, one dinked player, low HP, just push him and run him down. That was Dupree on his lonesome, attempting to do so, and dies. And that was really just the start, the first domino to fall. And a beautiful 2v4 from Heroic. Not the first time we've seen rounds like that play out, especially when Cadian's alive. It's just like always has mastery and control over the round. And Astralis forcing back into this, has an AK, Galil, Deagles, and a Scout.
I love the play to target to target Shush on ramp, knowing he was headshot, but walking into the angle wasn't the one. And now Heroic have a great chance at a great start on the CT side. So we've got the AK on Dupree and a Galil for Bubsky. 4 of the 5 players with helmets for Astralis. Glaive the exception with the Scouts. And it seems they'll take their time, since he's down looking for information on Secret. The stairs used to be behind the garage, believe it or not. And in they go. Big number of players coming his way. Only good for 1 though. That might not be enough as a rifle is collected by Astralis. Zipex sees a rotation as he stands in Squeaky, engaging with Shush. It's quite an aggressive flashbang, and in fact, seems the rotation will head in towards the A-bomb site, but there are still 2 players here for Heroic. Perhaps there's 1 now, as Shush is dropped and Cadian's in trouble, down to 6 HP, and there's a swing. This is turning into a disaster for Heroic. Refreshed now, could turn things around, but Zipex just charging him with the Desert Eagle, lands the shots around the corner of the smoke. Tessus now with 8 HP. This is absolute madness.
Yeah, he's going to get the plant for free. At least Tessus looking to challenge early on. Got to get a little bit of ground here if possible. But Zipex just so keen on it. Knows that he's going to be creeping out towards ramp. Tessus falls immediately with a beautiful 1D from range.
Well, all is fair, I suppose, because both teams have now been reset after winning their CT pistol. Nice headshot from Zipex there, making it look easy. Very chaotic round, which favours the team on a force buy, of course. Seeing so many force buys won these days, I feel like. So many resets.
Especially here at Flashpoint. I would love to see the stats at some point on collectively across all the matches, how many teams are getting reset on these maps, and I feel like it's got to be over 50% in my mind, at least, how often I remember it.
The pilgrimage.
Walkabout down Secret. Heroic doesn't seem aware of it yet. Of course, this is another 4 side of them. You get a light armor on 4 and a Scout on Cadian, but not much else in the way of grenades. Just Tessus down here at lower.
Using the numbers again. Anti-eco position for Zipex again. In trouble, can just fall back. And you have some information as well. He may not be able to stop the rotation there, but he'll go for his gun. That's a nice pickup for Heroic. Cadian fishing for something. Side plant bomb in the smoke. Now let's see what Heroic choose to do with the AK-47 in hand. 2 of the 3 plays of Kevlar. Uh-oh, Dupree is taking a real close bullet. That one looked on as well, but I suppose it went into the ramp. 9 HP for Dupree. No kit for these heroic plays. That may be the saving grace for Astralis at this point, as they look to head towards an 11th round. A blood-stained control room. Abandoned by Astralis as they make their way out. Stan looking to collect a little something. But he will be denied. How do you think Astralis are looking today?
I think they're looking really good. And obviously, I talked a little bit about it in the first half. I mean, their reads, they seem to be very awake. The comms are on point. And they're in control a lot of these rounds. But I think individually as well, we're seeing solid performances out of all these players. Zipex basically got untested the entire first half at ramp. So despite the fact that he's quote-unquote bottom fragging, you know, he's already found some really big impact in this second half. Forcing that force by winning the 1v2. It's a hell of a way to kick things off. And now Heroic, considering you're down 4 rounds, Astralis already on 11. It's tough to call another save here. I mean, you have to, of course, but this will be a very uphill battle for Heroic if they don't get some economy going early.
I was going to say this could be trouble, but there's too much EXP on Astralis. Jumping UMP in the hands of Zipex looks for the boost.
Sniffs out the ramp stack instantly.
That will be quite handy indeed. Now Refreshed will look to hold on to this AK Asimov. Not as special as the M4 and AWP, I would say, not just yet. The AK Asimov.
I just picked one up the other day.
An AK Asimov?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's between that and the fuel injector for my personal favorite.
Oh, the fuel injector is beautiful. I had one of those with some driver gloves, the Overtake, the yellow ones, whatever they're called. That was very nice. I had QB Fire stickers on them before controversy from that all came out. They looked quite good. With a flammable sticker on the end of it. You have to have the flammable sticker on the end of it, the front
For
of
the
it.
fuel injector?
Yeah, it looks nuts. Very nice one. So I'm using a Pantera Onka at present. which I'm
Fancy.
very much enjoying. Well done, we have a mixed bag from Heroic. The FAMAS is out and they are light on utilities. Zipex trying to make its way in, but he got caught in traffic, it looks like. 5 versus 3 for Heroic, a great start for them.
That was a teammate's Molotov too. That is so unlucky. But Tessus over here towards ramp will be the next thing to talk about. 3 players waiting the smoke out. He finds that
That's
first.
the angle. That is quite the trade from Bubsky.
Yeah.
So necessary as well in such a horrible situation for Astralis at this point. Glaive carrying the bomb on the outside, big risks taken, pulls out a grenade, double peek from Heroic, and that should shut down the round, but Bubsky may have something to say about this. Coming in from the ramp now, 20 for 10 is Bubsky. Always top fragging for Astralis, I feel like. He's always at the top of the scoreboard. The babyface Bubsky, 1 versus 3. He is the proof that there are no ugly people in Denmark. But can he make this round ugly for Heroic? He has 40 seconds to do it. Oh, just as he turns away. That's unfortunate timing for him. I want to see something nice. Well, it's nice for Heroic at least. It's their second round now in this second half.
Yeah, it's a big win for them. You limit the economy of Astralis and put them back into a tenuous economic situation. And really that start for them towards Squeaky, man. I mean, Zipnix was pushed out of Squeak, hanging out, had a sweet angle towards Mini Garage, towards main. But, I mean, he was basically getting forced out. I think he took almost 80 damage or so from... Okay, fast upper play again. They're going to test Squeaky.
Yeah, through the flames, Bubsky goes looking for the targets, finds 2 of them, but can't find a fatal connection. Molotov still causing problems, forcing them to fall off the hut, Heroic. But the kills are going their way once again, starting to charge up on their CT side now as they're trying to make their way down to the B bomb site. Glaive's got to find a place to plant a bomb, but he might look for a kill first because 2 versus 5 plants that bomb. Surely he gets clowned on by Heroic. Dupree turning things around now. Bomb planted and Glaive is alone. 1 versus 3. Has Dupree done enough? Trying to reset the situation. They got 3 kills out of that. Quite impressive. They were up against it, so the output's quite heavy from the remainder of Astralis, but it will be another round for Heroic.
Yeah, and for Heroic, that was a very well-handled Squeaky push again. They've seen it twice now. And I'm starting to understand why. Okay, so my team throws on a fast play like this. We throw that Molotov, the fast molly. You get up T-side ladder. You basically throw the molly through the window right away with a jump throw. And it lands on the right side of hut, and clearly that fire is bleeding into your pathway as a terrorist coming out of squeaky door. Trying to face Mini, you don't have a lot of room with that fire that's bleeding over the edge. And now I understand why it sucks. It's twice now that really uncomfortable gunfights looks like for Astralis. They're going to do it one more time, and it's Glaive this time. First to go through.
Ooh,
does he make it?
The HE slowing him down causes such a problem. Leaves him with 8 HP, but indeed he has created presence for his squad, trying to harass the B bomb site now. Supex has been lost, and looks the wrong way, baited by Stown. Tessus gets the kill. Bubsky now has a chance with a rare CZ. Don't see too many of those these days.
Upper's empty. This is a free bomb site.
Do they realize, though? I'm sure she's on the high ground. Stown now holding angles by T-Vent. He hears the sound cues. Does he dare flank them? Oh my god, Magic, what on earth was that? Trying to find an angle to plant the bomb, and Stown has a decision to make. He's the only man with a flashbang. Forces his way out. There's such a awkward angle from up top. And the wheels are turning in favor of Heroic once again. Good effort with the Deagles. Astralis keep doing the damage where if they do win a round late, they could break Heroic and have a run to win the map. So these rounds are still dangerous, even if Heroic are winning them.
Yeah, that's the silver lining. Because, I mean, honestly, we haven't really seen anything in Astralis in these last 2 rounds where, you know, they're attempting these fast plays. And sometimes, you know, these rounds can just come down to a coin flip. If you flash the right player at the right time, you can get the trade out. But they've got no such fortune as of yet. Heroic doing a good job of shutting it down. And as these rounds build up, so would the bank of Heroic. But as you mentioned, I mean, just doing the damage, getting a few frags, getting a bomb plant, staying competitive in this half is Astralis. And that's step 1 to taking this first map against Heroic. And now we get a more standard-looking nuke T-side where spreading the map, dropping the smokes. Oh, I think that smoke just bounced past that molly.
You hate to see it if you're Astralis. There's another exchange as well to delay things yet further. Completely thwarted, but they've got numbers towards the ramp here. We've got incendiaries being dropped everywhere. Tessus deletes as well with the Org and holds the position. So that's plan A and plan B failed for Astralis. Do they have a plan C, 3 versus 5? Well, maybe it's time for plan D with that headshot.
How many plans do we have out here, man?
I mean, it's Astralis. If they've got an alphabet of plans, rather, it is going to be Astralis. But we may be running out of letters here because Glaive finds himself alone without the bomb now. Not sure there's a plan for that.
Yeah, I think the reaction was okay to go ahead and move towards ramp. You know Tessus is there, and he has been the hot hand of Heroic throughout Flashpoint 3, and especially in the last few times that we've seen this team play. Nuke especially just seems to be his playground, and it's a tough decision to make. You know somebody's playing there, probably with an AUG. A few different times in this half we've seen him just mow down the side of Astralis. But really, this round was just 2 well-timed, I guess, Molotovs. And I'm sure he had a read, but really uncomfortable to fight when you're separating, disrupting so much of the Astralis push. And if you're missing that gunfight, if you're not able to get a trade out, well, you end up in a 5v1. Glaive, 14 seconds. Dropped by Refresh, and 12-11 Heroic inching back into this game round by round. And Astralis, I mean, you mentioned their alphabet playbooks. Surely they've got something left for us, but it is looking a little bit less good for Astralis with every round that passes. Wow.
Tessus has been an animal for Heroic of late. An absolute animal. In this tournament, he has been a key player. Had some outrageous performances to put them in winning positions. And they're in one now, in the short term at the very least, as Astralis are on the pistols. But again, we have seen so many Desert Eagle kills already in this series that we may be heading towards more here in round 24. Oh my god!
Goodbye.
Oh man, that even hurts me. I'm not the one playing. Well, that AWP won't be retrieved too soon. Now, we see Refresh has a HE grenade. Sometimes you can use a HE grenade to just send a gun far away from a team who might try to collect it otherwise. You can see Refresh popping out through the smoke, taking matters into his own hands, and the lurker is eliminated. Astralis may have to run quickly. That bomb's been spotted. Shush immediately looking towards the hut. There's an easy one on Dupree. They may survive the numbers here, Heroic. Just changing his position a little bit, making it hard for Zipex. And now only Magisk remains. 4 players alive would be fantastic for Heroic. Again, let's not forget the war of attrition. They've been grinded down round by round. Even in the rounds where Heroic have won, there's often been 2 people alive. So it's important they have 4 there.
Yeah, big bank. Got 10K on Cadian and several other players sitting over 5. So we've got buy rounds on buy rounds ahead of us for Heroic. And it's Astralis now. They're strapped for cash. 12 all. Round 25 set to ensue. And we've seen some fast upper plays out of Astralis. One time they've tested outside to some degree. But even then it was stunted with missed smoke. So now may get to see a another situation where you set this second tier smokes, right? You got second layer getting deployed. And there's no more Molotovs for the side of Astralis, or Heroic rather, to deal with that.
Ooh.
Look at this push.
Uh-oh. Okay, bomb's going outside. Refreshes here as well. This is so much information, but what will the rotation look like? The lobby is clear. You have to expect somebody in the anti-eco position. Actually going to smoke him off, but that's got to speed things up elsewhere. But the problem is, Astralis don't know what they're running into. They know that lobby's been compromised, but what lies around these corners? They don't know that there are 3 or 4 people upstairs. So they have to be real careful. How do you make a play from here? Do we try and go for that plan C and head towards the A bomb site or something? We'll find out. They've got 45 seconds to decide on what the best play is now. Maybe expecting a rotation. The bomb's been spotted. Immediately heading in towards main. Very awkward spot. Magisk avoids the flashbang. Many wheels at play here, but some of these cogs are going to start breaking. But for which team? 30 seconds on the clock. 5v5 remains. We've got us down in CT spawn, playing the most awkward angle possible. And Glaive can't just be entertained by this with 20 seconds on the clock. They've got to push a bomb site. If they go towards heaven, then Down has angle. So what do Astralis do? This is going from bad to worse. We're talking about a plan F at this point. Cadian now posted up on the B bomb site. Heroic with great position. Tesset's running distraction. Bombs on the floor. Has to be connected again. 8 seconds to plant this bomb. Trying to cut these numbers out now. The bomb's being planted left side. There it goes. That's the kill they needed. Heroic with position, with information. Astralis really... Oh my God!
Refresh with the icing on top, finding a headshot, 1 tap at the end of the round.
Look at the hype from the team as well. They're loving it. That was a great round for Heroic.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Cadian whiffing a couple there, but hits the one that counts. Stops the bomb plant from going down. 13-12 Astralis. I mean, this is... Man, you got full loss bonus at least going in your favor, but nothing really has worked. I mean, you did get lower bomb site control to some degree, but it was not clean, and certainly it was not good enough to win the round. So,
look, man, that kill from Refresh at the end was ruthless.
Destroyed.
That was a ruthless frag. And this has caused big problems for Astralis. They really need a bomb plant. As well as rounds and other things, they need to plant a bomb. They need that bonus money. They are broke of focus at present. Well, that's a good way to start as they try to turn things back into their favor, Astralis. Money's being built on Heroic now, and Tesses holds the ramp again.
He just does not give this up without taking down 2. Every time, and Shush hot on the flank through Trophy Room. He's just going to farm this, and it's already over, 14-12. Heroic dominating their CT side.
Yeah, it may already be over. And again, they need a bomb plant. If they plant the bomb in around Astralis, they get 4,200 if they lose. No bomb plant means they've got 3,500 for the most part, which puts their money in an awkward situation.
Glaive even had the opener over at Redbox, and you think at that point, finally Astralis get the man advantage. They've got the initiative outside, they've got yard control, and yet Heroic just every step of the way reading what Astralis is doing and reacting to it appropriately. As I say, that early outside pressure coming in from Astralis. 2 players down secret.
And there goes the bomb as well. But they've given the sound cues and they'll turn things around. But there's a player engaged, and I think Heroic here that these steps stop short. I think they realised, I don't know where Zipex's kill came from there. Dead now, of course. And we've got risks being taken. I can see Bubsky making his way into the A bomb site, but Stown is ready for all these angles. Having a quick look, he's seen Dupree by Secret as well and delivers one more. And Magic is left standing, wondering what could have been next to a rain pipe. Just watching the game slip away from his team. 1 versus 4. And Stown is almost ready for another one. Well, a Mac-10's been collected. Maybe he can clutch with that. Keeps the Desert Eagle out. Patient play with the Desert Eagle, but leaves Tessus with 4 HP. And Heroic moves to game points.
Yeah, this has just been rough for Astralis and their T side. I spoke a lot about how on point and in control they were with their rotations on the defensive side of things, but flip it on over to T side, and this has been all Heroic, making it look like the CT-sided map it once was. In a big way. I mean, they yielded those 3 after getting reset, but really just a clean half so far for Heroic.
Again, Heroic taking respect by force. Got themselves into a position where they are way more than a farm team. One of the strongest teams in the world at present. And they'll give you no respect whatsoever. You'll have to earn it, and that proves very difficult versus Heroic. Astralis with limited utility, but they've got the guns out. This time they move quietly towards Secret. Again, they tried to fake sound last time. Running down Secret, abruptly stopping. Heroic seemed to realize that immediately, but now things are somewhat different. Showing presence down towards the double doors. The wine bottles will fly. I'll go for this boost towards Decon once again. Decon for contamination. And they continue. You can see Cadian creeping down now. TSS is in a spot where it could be wallbanged from Decon. We've seen that before. Double door's not open, so Cadian could post up towards control. He's chosen not to for now. You can see he's holding down 2 jobs, looking towards ramp. 30 seconds, and he is going to be pinched at some point. The grenades start to stream. They're going for a bomb plant straight away. SS has got a spread. Cadian has through the smoke, and here's the flank. He's ready for it as well. There's one more on the way, and he seems to realize it. The jiggle, Cadian at maximum strength. Magic with 14 seconds, 1 versus 5, and he'll be given absolutely nothing by Heroic. Yet another strong performance on Nuke from Heroic.
Wow.
He's ready for that one. That man knows how good he is at this game.
He almost aces in the final round of the game, too. Incredible stuff from Heroic and Cadian.
His spatial awareness is absolutely off the charts. And that's just the first game of this series. There's plenty more carnage to come after the break. We'll see you soon.
A closer affair than when the last time these two teams faced off, but ultimately, once Heroic put their foot to the floor, it was going the way of that Danish side. 16-12 to cement the first map in this best-of-3 series, and it seemed like once Heroic really found their stride on that CT side, there was just no stopping.
This is going to be a really good segment for you because there's so many good rounds in this game. It was such an awesome match to watch, and from both sides as well, which makes it even more interesting to talk about. In some of these highlights, there are obviously a lot of Dupree kills, which was cool to watch as a first talking point. The amount of impact he was having overall was great. But yeah, Astralis, they got to, I think, a 12-7 or 12-8 scoreline, and then lost out, I think, 7 rounds in a row to Heroic, who just looked absolutely fantastic on the CT side.
Yeah, it was a little bit similar to what happened at the last DreamHack matchup, where Heroic just had a dominant CT side. In that game, Heroic won all 7 of their CT rounds, closed the game out there on that CT side. This time around, you know, Astralis, they showed a little bit of life on that T side, but Heroic are just so thorough, and they are so well prepared for every single situation that Astralis throws at them when Heroic's on the defense.
Yeah, I like that you bring that up as well, because last time we didn't see Astralis getting a single T round on the board. This time they did get 3, but then that 9-round streak. Why do you feel like they were able to kind of cement that on the side of Heroic?
I think Cadian was such a good IGL this game as a caller and also an impact player. And the way that he was helping in mid-rounds was really clear. There are a couple rounds that we're going to watch that show and exemplify how good he was. But basically, I mean, first of all, I would also like to just credit every individual on Heroic. Maui brought up this point that Gambit and Heroic are 2 teams where you can say the calling and the system is very good, but the individual decision-making is just really smart almost every single round consistently. When you looked at Stown controlling himself, when you looked at Shush and the way he was moving around the map, like no one's policing him or explaining how to take the peaks that he does in every single decision. He's just a very smart player, and they're fortunate to have all of those players, you know, operating at such a high level all at once.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that we didn't even talk about Testis yet, and he was the second highest fragger
for... We talked about Testis too much.
I know. Like, you can't pick with Heroic. I feel like at the end of 2021, there's a good chance that all 5 of these players will be on the top 20 HLTV list. If Heroic keep having the success that they're having, and they all keep having a fair share of the frags, this might be the first time in history that 5 players are all in the top 20.
I don't think
it's possible, though.
I don't think it's super likely.
Yeah,
Just because, like, the second, like, the fall-winter will be lands.
Yeah.
And then we have no idea also just longevity.
True.
And then, you know, are they going to be number 1 team? Probably not. Maybe.
It's it's possible, though. I'm just throwing it, like, I've never seen, even when some of the other teams were having, you know, huge performances where they were like, I mean, Astralis in 2018, they didn't have all 5 players. No. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Zipix and Glaive, I don't think were top 20. Glaive was.
I think maybe 1 year he was, but 1 year he wasn't.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's just basically what.
But
Heroic's
I know what you're saying. They have actually Astralis level stats.
Yeah.
They're in the fact that there are basically no bottom fraggers across the board.
It's unprecedented for a team to have this much consistency and firepower top to bottom. Every player is aware of the game plan in every round. Not only that, none of them have to take a sacrificial role in that plan.
Yeah, Shush was supposed to be that guy, but
no,
it's
exactly.
really good.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned about the mid-rounds earlier. We can bring round number 4 up to replay this one out. And this was from the Heroic side. Do you want to walk us through what this is?
This is so fantastic. So this is actually, is this the round that Glaive flanks outside, or is this the mid-round?
This is the mid-round where they slow down after getting...
So let's break this down, because this is something like very high level that happens that should make playing Tier 1 CS super entertaining and fun at this level if you're the player. So it's a 2-on-3 situation, and the meta at a moment like this, the bomb down upper, Astralis evacuate and go for the rotation to get ahead of the next play of Heroic. And Heroic in this situation, when given enough space, should take the bomb and go down vent. That is the natural rotation actually for the Ts these days. It used to be something you do once in a while. Now people do it all the time. And instead of actually getting that bomb and going down lower, Heroic go 1 level deeper. They actually stay and don't move from their positions, wait to see if Astralis push, and then recede even further back to wait for Astralis to second guess that and come and clear out upper. This is Cadian, who is leading the charge in this moment, getting into this position in an off angle and sitting here for the rest of the round. Dupree will walk into him from Squeaky and give up this frag, allowing them back into the round and showing Astralis that Heroic were aware of every single move they were going to make in that situation about 30 seconds ahead. And I am not going out on a limb here. I know for a fact that they did this and did this deliberately. Now the kills come down, and this is whatever, but it's Heroic realizing they won the round when they caused the rotations downstairs, and that second rotation later on for Dupree, showing that they second-guessed themselves and came back to look to see if it was upper.
I think this is another reason why I'll just point to the map itself, why people love Nuke right now. I think this is just there's so much outplay potential on this map, where on other ones maybe you sit around and the flank comes, but it's kind of a 50-50 duel. There's just so many different ways you can position yourself to outbrain your opponents, which you just see so obviously in this clip here, as Launders was describing, the fact that Cadian knew what they were thinking, and he went one step ahead of them. Those kind of outplays are just why top level CS like this, why a game where the teams are going blow for blow is consistently just constantly entertaining.
Yeah, and speaking of those big brains, we've got to go to the next subsequent round, round number 5. So what are we looking at here, gentlemen?
So something to mention in the pregame was about Glaive and how he's going to be important for getting yard control and disrespecting smoke. So he was sitting in secret just now, and he sees a whole bunch of smokes coming out. And his first move was to actually just push up and call out that they aren't here at all. Now, look at the amount of info he gets in this position. This should be an impossible round to lose. Bubsky does save the day, but this is Glaive on a big flank.
Yeah, there's just so much information, and Astralis in this moment is so ready for this push from Heroic, and even though they go 2 for 2, the flank from Glaive is already going to be unexpected. He'll be able to catch Cadian off guard in just a few moments here, because Cadian, he expects a lobby lurk, a lobby flank from ramp. He doesn't expect there to be someone coming in from kind of the T spawn area, and you can see at this point that Astralis got complete control of the situation because they had all of the information.
Yeah, and I like that you bring up the outside control element, particularly when we were comparing it from last game. We saw them at DreamHack Masters, because you were saying that was crucial in terms of Heroic's win, in terms of the outside kind of aggression they were getting.
Yeah, you have to spend like two to 2.5 grand in utility to like take outside control properly, or to even make it seem like you do. So if you go and do that, you expect that the CTs are not actually going to peek your smoke or whatever. But then the meta last year, people figured out, it's like, well, if I throw a $200 flash through this, $1,500 worth of utility and just peek, and I don't see anybody, the whole strat's on its head. Everybody upstairs can stay and hold their positions. Ramp can push. You can take over lobby if they are outside. You can go 1 for 1 and like get ahead of the round. There's just so much value there, just countering all of that utility with just like one push. And so Glaive became an expert at basically finding the timings and reading into the game really well. He has to be smarter than most in that if most people throw those smokes from Heroic, most people in secret are not going to come up and check and like walk right across red, but he did it right away.
And we can flip on over to the second half of this map, and we're going to take a look at the second pistol round as well. So can you walk me through what's happening here?
Yeah, so this is a really solid position for the CTs. They're all over the B bomb site. Heroic are defending here. They had all the information earlier in this round, but this was just a mega pop-off round for Cadian. So even though Heroic had great position towards lower, Astralis are actually able to get them out of their positions. And now 4-on-2 retake. Shush is already probably thinking about saving, but he is able to get one kill there, still backing off the angle, but Cadian just reads everything in this moment just perfectly.
And Cadian on this flank with the 2-on-3 situation, I mean, you can see the way he's feeling the round there, knowing exactly where Zipix is going to be holding. Shush is about to retire with this defuse kit, thinking it's over, and then Cadian hits another miraculous shot, and Bubsky just bouncing around, trying to get some information. And this is pretty much where it ends.
Yeah, so Glaive here just kind of has to find a timing. He's on low HP, so he doesn't want to swing out wide, wants to try to play the timing game, but Heroic have already scaled onto the bomb site at this point, smoke on the bomb on top of that, and even though it's kind of winnable, Cadian again just calls out his position. It felt like he knew where every single player was, and when it was a 50-50 duel, as that person was jumping into him on T-Con, he hits a beautiful shot. Yeah,
and I think that's what's so scary about Heroic as well. You guys were alluding to it earlier. Every single individual has the potential to be doing this. So if we're coming into Overpass, sure, it's Astralis' pick, but how are you viewing the form of Heroic coming into this map?
There's no punish picks in this veto, and that's just because you've got 2 top 5 teams, and 2 teams that have lots of history. Again, like you mentioned in the veto, this is just a reshuffled version of the last veto. And the only reason we didn't see Overpass last time was because Heroic 2-0'd them. But Heroic are happy to play Overpass. Sorry if I said Vertigo, I think. They're happy to play Overpass. And again, as I said yesterday, for my money, Heroic are like one of the most innovative teams on Overpass in the whole world, and I think that hasn't changed moving into 2021. We saw lots of cool stuff versus Vitality yesterday, and I don't think they prepared a ton, but they just are already very good at it. So it's going to be It's going to be tough. This is Astralis just trying something new because they got trounced on Inferno.
Was there any particular innovations that you were kind of impressed with from Heroic on this map?
It was like it's funny because it's building on what Astralis did 2018. I don't think anybody's innovated in a way that Astralis did in 2018 since then. They've only found small advantages, new versions of grenades, which like HE grenades were the hallmark for Astralis' play. But, you know, Heroic came up with the fastest triple nade for the boost on B site on Overpass, and that's the version that everyone uses now for the lineups. So that's like one example of it. There'll be a lot more, but yeah, there's just Maui was talking about playing the B side on Overpass and how, because it's so open, if you take short control or even if you don't, there are just so many different kinds of executes that can come in and be a nightmare for you holding the site, and we'll see some of those.
Yeah, I think moving to Overpass, the biggest concern I have is Astralis' CT side, actually, because when they played Mouse Sports were able to get 11 rounds on the T side, and that's just not really okay if you're Astralis. If you want to pick this map, you need to be able to play a competent defense on it. So I think that it's a good training ground, the fact that they played Mouse, and I think that right now there's an argument that maybe Mouse's Overpass is actually somehow better than Heroic's, but at the same time, I felt like this is a pick going into map number 2 where Astralis kind of think they're underdogs, perhaps, where they kind of thought, let's change it up because what we did last time just didn't work at all, so let's just change the formula entirely.
Yeah, and if we're looking a bit more into that CT side, was there anything that you hope Astralis are going to be doing differently from what we saw versus Mouse?
It's tough to put my finger on one thing because Mouse did so many things correctly. So I think that they need to just be able to take control of probably, like, I think Mouse did a really good job at taking space away from Astralis towards A, and I feel like that's something where usually teams get forced off of A because after a couple 3-man A pushes from a team like Astralis towards Fountain, you end up saying, okay, we'll just send one person towards that side of the map and we'll focus our whole T side on the B side, but they were never able to quell any kind of A pressure from Mouse Sports in that game a few days ago, so I think they need to maybe kind of condition Heroic today and say, we're not going to give A for free, so you have to do B execs on us.
Yeah, I think that's a really strong point. Like things have shuffled around a bit for Astralis since, you know, we're in the post-device era, and they were using, I think, Magisk, I guess, aggressively over on A for some of their pushes, as well as Dupree, and so I think those are the two riflers are going to rely on the most to maintain that control.
Well, we're almost ready to be jumping into Overpass, but not before we throw it to our wonderful casters. It's Lex and James on the mics.
Thank you. Well then, game of Overpass is upon us. This is my favorite map. Is it yours?
Oh, yeah. No, Overpass is Freya's least favorite map, actually, which is crazy to me because I think Overpass is everyone's favorite map,
If
generally
you've learned
speaking.
anything, it's that Freya's opinions can no longer be respected now that she's 25.
She called you easy, man.
I know. I'm still recovering from this. I'm waiting for my salad. She felt guilty. She's going to buy me a salad now, so fine to me. Free food is always good. Astralis will be looking for some food on this game of Overpass because their mouths are left hungry after losing the first map. That's a nice opening kill. Shush will be consumed by a Glock. And there's more Glock action where that came from. Zipex now showing his own prowess. Bit of pre-fire. Not quite getting there with Cadian. Bubsky there as well. So the bomb's being seen now outside Monster. We'll see if that causes a rotation. Only 3 Heroic players remain. We can see Tessus hanging out by long. Just chilling. There's still time for a rotation. He does have a shadow advantage. We'll see if he can pop the heads should they emerge in his direction. There are no flashes here, but again, we may see the typical Super Mario Brothers into the bomb site. Press A to jump. Or is it B? I don't know.
No, it's apparently it's spacebar, man. Tessus understands this A pressure is coming in through. Doesn't find the first, got to reload. It's cleaned up by Zipex. Now it's a 2-on-4, and Stone's already lit.
5.
Yeah. You keep the kit, smoke, light armor, I guess.
Notes how to shift walking away so as not to be chased. Don't want to reveal their position as they're falling away.
This is one of those rounds where I watch it and I'm just like, the Glock is the best gun in Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
The P250 is the best gun in Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
No, just some of these rounds where just insta-dinks. Heroic doesn't even get a chance to really get some of those shots off. You think the P250 is the best gun in Counter-Strike?
It is. My opinion is facts, Lex.
I taking notes over here.
Damn, Refresh dropped a $300 smoke to hold on to the $400 kit, but also to help his mate save his Kevlar, I suppose. So, works out. At least Down is alive. But Astralis will take the pistol on the T side. And let's see what Heroic choose to do, because it has been the Force Buy Funhouse in these second rounds. Not just in this series, of course, but practically every series. It's been very rare we've seen the odd eco from a T side for AKs in the third round.
Let me ask you this, James. Do you enjoy watching ecos like that from a spectator's POV?
What, just
fun?
a hard eco?
Yeah, no, just the Deagle massacre. The hold crouch, spam Deagle, second round buys.
I think that's
There's no right answer
I
here,
feel
I'm
like
serious.
too many of those rounds are being won.
Okay.
But I don't have a problem with the Desert Eagle in isolation at the same time.
No, me either. I just
So it's a weird spot in that respect.
right.
I suppose if there's too much, you could make it like $800.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe some price adjustments down the line.
Yeah, I do think there are too many Force Buys being won at the moment. Like even in this one tournament,
Yeah.
like there are so many being won. It's like, how do you?
The weird
You
thing
should have
is-
more consistency, I feel like.
Yeah, and the weird thing to me, I think, is just kind of how often it happens, regardless of side and map. Right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not as though there's,
It's
oh,
everywhere.
well, X map, really, second buys are really dangerous. It's everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's an epidemic of Force Buy wins. Yeah, there's just a bit too much variance for my liking at present. I'd love to hear your opinions about this at home. Send the tweets in. Let me know what you think. Well then, 20 seconds for Astralis to convert this round. There's before as they move into the site, and Cadian Scope will obscure his vision, really trying to buy time for his team and just drop the numbers a little bit. It's a 3 versus 3 now. Refresh just picks up a Galil. Good armor penetration on that if he can find an angle. Oh, that's quite a smoke grenade. I need to have a notepad just to make notes of things like this. Hold on, looks like they'll go for this. 3 versus 2 now as they start to charge through. Dupree, 24 HP, needs to stay alive longer. He's down to the block, rings the bell, but can't quite get there. And hey-ho, we have a Force Buy victory again in the second round.
Surprise, surprise. It was written in the script. We already knew ahead of time. That's why we were talking about it. There it is, 1-all. And you know what's weird? Like, even getting up into the bomb site, like, Astralis has the numbers advantage. They've got the weapons advantage. They even have some utility. And yet it looks remarkably easy for Heroic, you know, just waiting their time. Perfect timing, waiting for a refresh, come on the flank. Well played by him, collecting that a little early in the round. Puts it to work at Flower Pot. Now it's 1-all, and the one thing that I will say as far as Force Buys on Overpass goes, like, you actually have some options pretty much everywhere on the map to make these rounds interesting. So Astralis forcing back into it, got a CZ, some Deegs, and 2 AKs. Dupree and Glaive carrying them both. Already down to 37 HP, but a big headshot on Acadian in response.
I've never landed a frag like that in my life.
Never. And we got
That is quite the angle.
Yeah.
Up and right like that. It's pretty solid from Dupree.
Aim confidence. Just pure reactions at that point. Acadian gets decapitated, and a little bit of a pop flash set up there towards Monster that our observer just caught. See whether or not it's going to come into play, as Astralis still just so patient on this. We'll call it an or a force back in, rather. Almost feels like a force buy with the way that they're playing it. Or, sorry, a full buy. It is a force buy. Ooh.
This is the smoke that I remember watching Brolan do all the time when it pushes towards the A-bomb site, playing around with JW. Allows him to fight long in isolation or use long as an area to hold as pushes are coming in, which makes things awkward for a T side. Kind of falling out of fashion to some degree. Either way, the push is towards the B bomb site. 22 seconds remain, and Refresh is looking for more. Aware that he is being flanked. So many targets for him, trying to really use the bullets the best he can, and that is a great priority frag from him. Forces the bomb to be collected. Tessus has made a step, though, maybe heard by Dupree, creating space for a bomb plant. He's blind, he's on fire as well, Tessus. but he's just about spotted Dupree. Can't make the fatal connection. So Flame! Oh my god, this man's gone nuclear again and clutched around for Heroic.
He is so good. Molotov landing on his head. He's full blind, no stress. Just calmly baits out the peak. When you spam the AK like that, obviously you can't spam through the bomb boxes themselves, but what he's doing essentially is making it seem as though he's fighting. I think it's Dupree's teammate over there from Sandbags, and both Astralis players. Errant peeks from them both. Starts with Refresh, buying so much time for the rotation to even come in. Dropping that bomb on Zipex outside of Monster. Incredible play here from Heroic, and Astralis really did everything right on that force buy back into that round. Really looked like they were going to take it. But Tess is handling that 1v2 so cleanly.
Dependable, consistent, reliable.
Those are things that, at least in the clutch, we used to preach about Zipex actually, and Tess has been that guy who just, you see him in the clutch for Heroic, at least as of late. You almost expect that he's going to come away with a win, and Cadian is going to send this long direction early.
There's his first kill of the game, Cadian. Looking for a second, but as we can see, distance is being closed. They may not know that Glaive is by the bicycle. That bicycle used to be a stronger spot with certain agents in the game. Hide behind it with a Desert Eagle, and people wouldn't see you immediately. But it was nerfed somewhat. Did enjoy it though. There's bloody green agents.
As a colorblind individual, I struggle. It's an understatement to see some of those camos.
Yeah, with Ancient in the map pool now.
Oh god.
It's utterly ridiculous.
Like, I really want to like whatever the final version of Ancient comes to be, but the color palette, man, something's got to be done somewhere. Because that is my nightmare map right now. Just invisible enemies shooting at me.
Yeah, there's definitely too much green going on there. But we can mention that a little bit more maybe in an eco round, because we have a buy round coming through now for both squads. We've got a 5 AK-47s out for Astralis. Refresh making inroads towards short B with the MP9 up close. Fast fire rate with that weapon. Many people think it's overpowered. I'd tell him to shut up and just leave it how it is. The CTs need something.
I think he actually just got his pathing blocked for the 7 smoke. Okay, no, he's just getting it close, climbing it up, and he misses it.
Oh.
Doesn't even throw it.
That is very strange indeed, but the opening kill will go their way. Look at the numbers of use from Astralis. The chain flashbangs are on the way as well. The HE could be a juicy one. Indeed, it will be. Hits practically everyone. Hits a lot of Bubsky as well. He's out this round. The trades will continue 2 versus 2 as Down picks up another rifle. Cadian will get Dupree leaving through the smoke. Wasn't expecting Cadian to be there with Down's position. Maybe the last place he expected an AWP, but such is the power of Heroic. He can be anywhere at any time. Zipex now has to collect the bomb versus an AWP. That's not going to be the easiest task in the world. He has 45 seconds though, and maybe he'll try and catch Down somewhere before he heads for that bomb. There is the man himself walking down the stairs, and oh my god, that was a robotic one from Zipex. That was the frag he was looking for. That gives him an option now, 1v1. Perhaps he can jiggle and bait a peek from Cadian. He's got 25 seconds, and he may resign himself to the fact that this round probably wins by elimination without the bomb being planted.
He's waiting,
wondering about the back now.
Yeah, he's waited enough time to make Cadian second guess this.
Yeah, and it's actually worked, but the sound cues have surely been heard. 11 seconds, and Zipex being real tight about this one. Goes for the run, but Cadian will deny him.
Man, that round starts off. Our observer, shout out to them. They caught the failed smoke from Glaive and 2 kills on that execute coming out for Heroic from that heaven position. Think about how successful this monster execute would have been had the utility been in place. Tessus would have had to drop out of heaven into pit. Cadian would have been isolated towards CT lower rather than heaven in the first place, and instead Heroic grabbed their 4th. That's 4 straight for them. So they've got quite a, well, 3-round cushion. And maybe a not live round. A lot of typing going on in chat.
There is a not live call for sure. Tick, tick, tick. And we're back. Next time, next season, I feel like we should set up VR in the studio somewhere.
Yeah,
segment of people playing Half-Life or something.
that would be
It's
awesome.
basically a horror game.
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up. But that tick just sounds very Half-Life to me, you know? Well then, 4 rounds in a row for Heroic. Astralis resets on the pistol. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like every pistol there's been a reset afterwards in this series so far.
No, there has.
Yeah.
Even if we're wrong, I'm telling you, it has.
Even if we're wrong, it feels that way, and that's bad enough. So, here we go again. The pistols are out for Astralis. Overpass is their pick. Nuke, of course, a stronghold for Heroic.
Punished on the sandbag jump peek towards short. The double nades from Monster. It's a nice start. Doesn't get the frag though on Stout. Tessa's taking liberties over here towards Fountain. Finds one on a glaive, and it's really just, I can't gush more about how impressive this individual play has been for Heroic here at Flashpoint 3, and in general in the last 3-6 months. Just steady improvement, mechanical master, of course, but just his decision making. Look at this, just handling 3 different angles like it's so easy for him. Bubsky finally answers back with one of his own. 2 on 4, still a weakened player here on Heroic, but a lot of space that Astralis needs to take first before we think about talking about a bomb plant.
It's down low health. We'll take the AWP, and we know he's no stranger to it.
Shout out to Bogdan.
Could you explain this Bogdan stuff? For those who are uninitiated, what is this Bogdan stuff?
I mean, essentially, it's Bogdan's Law. It's this low player on your team that does not currently hold an AWP, trades with the AWPer for, it doesn't really matter what side you're on or what map it is. You just hand the low HP player the one-and-done gun, okay? So as long as you're on low HP, you can at least get 1 kill with the AWP before you die. There's a little bit of a backstory here with regards to famous streamer Steel and a...
Okay, we'll have to hold the rest of that for a second, because we'll continue it in the next eco round. Great pick from Cadian. Second quest is to escape the situation and get back towards the toilets, because you're very exposed on the run.
What a shot.
He's able to do that as well. Repositioning completely towards long now, and the timing is going to be glorious. A headshot, of course. Cadian firing on all cylinders. Pretty consistent sniping as well, and that wasn't always the case, which is why it's so great to see. I just can't stop gushing about Cadian at the moment, and how strong a player he is and how strong a team he has. Dupree swinging now, and there's the third one. Wasn't expecting Cadian. He is everywhere. Connector to long to divider. Cadian is in that arse in this round. That leaves Zipex alone now. Oh boy.
Look at this.
Oh my god. That's just a fantastic round. That is all Cadian. Lead by example.
In the last 24 hours, you could absolutely put together a pretty comprehensive frag movie for the man. Just some incredible shots coming out.
That's a fantastic round.
Yeah. Multiple 4Ks in this series alone.
1 shot, 1 kill every time. Sit down.
Are we worried for Astralis yet? I mean, there's a lot of Counter-Strike left to play in this map, but I am. I'm worried, James.
I should be. I don't know how I feel right now, but I mean, I should be in the sense that, like, what is the way in? What is the way in for them on this T side? I don't know.
A ain't it. Cadian and
They're just
Tessus
getting
have this on lock.
slapped. They are getting slapped with a wet fish by Heroic at the moment.
Very similar to their T side on Nuke. I mean, talked about having alphabet plans for Astralis, but Heroic 1 step ahead at every move. A large part of that is due to Cadian and Tess as their combo over here on A right now. Could be a little bit of a B pressure from Astralis, try and draw a rotation with a late long play up with bomb. But this is just, once again, Heroic giving a lot of responsibility to Tess's.
Again, that boost is very unique in that the player on top does not need to jump on his teammate's head so he stands. He's already standing. Deep angle towards the barrels, but opportunity is missed. 20 seconds now. Astralis must die. Moving into the B bomb site, they must be eliminated. They've got to force the action here. They need that loss bonus, and they will do exactly that. On rare occasion, you'll sometimes see, for example, a Molotov thrown by, let's say, a CT side, and the T side will die deliberately in the Molotov, just to not give a bigger kill bonus to a different weapon. Very, very rare you see that these days, but here and there, you might spot that and wonder what the hell's going on.
Man, 7 straight, excuse me, for Heroic.
Yeah, it's a great start. It is a great start. But we've seen many great starts collapse. But the chain grenades towards B. Cajun could be in trouble here. No, apparently not. Bubsky in a more passive angle. Oh! Oh, I love this one! That Molotov goes on both sides. Goes to the high ground and the low ground, but you never see it with a flashbang. Flash them from barrels, then throw the molly so they don't know they're on fire. They'll stand there and die. That's the play I want to see.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Still, a lot of utility getting dropped on Bubsky's head. That's fun to watch. Somehow retaining 66 HP.
Man, someone eventually, when they know someone's there, has got to chain that with a flashbang. It's free. I mean, it's not free, it's $200, but you know what I mean. Well, Zipex gets clipped down to 16 HP. The bomb has not been seen by Heroic, and we can see that the bomb is rotating towards B. We have this jail position once again. After Freya's birthday yesterday, one person almost ended up in jail, but I think they ended up in hospital instead. More on that at 9 o'clock. The lurk. Look at the stereo frags here from Heroic. We've got problems increasing now for Astralis. Dupree and Glaive have got so much to do, 16 seconds to do it, and they've got a chance. How about this for a turnaround? Hold on a second. Dupree with angles as well. He's been patient, holding with the bomb. Now he's down, suddenly looking for a 1v2. Dupree commits to the bomb plant, stands on the way. Which way does Dupree go? Right with the AWP. Got to go for the quick scopes. Surely! And there it is. I didn't see that one coming out in a win for Astralis.
That was so close. And, I mean, it was really well handled by Heroic. You got 20 seconds left on the clock. Everybody's pressing for information. Tessus wins his duels. You got another one, I think it was Shush towards B. And so you get a 5v3 immediately, but Astralis just barging back into the B site. Trades out all of those kills, and despite this heroism over at Pillar from Cadian, this is Astralis' second on the half, and it comes with a late B execute that probably could have been held by Heroic on another day, but early fountain pressure here from Heroic. This is the first time we've seen this. Astralis react immediately, yeah.
Yeah, instant response. They realize what's going on, so do they deem that they have a timing? I mean, they may have to go through utility for it. There is the smoke for the balcony, the easier one to line up, and here comes the choke point. It's a brutal one. Well, two players have gone in, and their team are like, maybe we'll just forget about this, but Glaive will try to lead by example. It's a suicide pact.
Yeah, well, okay, so it's a beautiful execute. We saw the utility flying out, but only one nostril flash coming out through the monster pipe. Nothing followed up on the right side to handle that wood wall position. And unfortunately, I mean, that's just one of those situations where if you're going to try and barge through a choke point like that, you must layer flashes for that repeak. And I mean, Heroic players, it looks like they've seen that 100 times.
It's not like quite Inferno. It's not quite like Inferno where, you know, 3 players are on banana and you go, all right, let's push A. That is maybe the tightest choke point in the game. It must be.
Could be. I mean, we saw teams smashing through Squeaky on the last map, but Monster Pipe for sure is so difficult to deal with when you have 2 CT players this close, as demonstrated in this round.
My breakfast sandwich was bigger than this. And that's, again, credit to the attention to detail from Heroic. They have a flank, which does not go too far and open the map up to Astralis by getting picked. You can see Down is just holding still, being very, very patient. Heroic know what the counter play is, a monster play, and they're ready to destroy. Sound just now creeping with so little time on the clock here, trying to bait the shot from Dupree. It is beautiful, honestly. I just can't get over how much they've grown and become a complete team. You think, okay, let's counter them towards B. No, you're not going to catch them off guard. They're ready for it. They have a crossfire set up. They've got the lasers on the heads of the sharks swimming around the pool. They are ready for you, and they will delete you and everything you try to do.
The lasers.
So
Beautiful bait setup almost for Heroic.
the hero AWP for Dupree. But the aggression from Heroic, the second round in a row where they've really cracked up the aggro here. But Dupree will open up the map for them. And there'll be another rifle to be collected by his teammate with 5 players alive. This is already a huge chance for Astralis to make something from this round. Oh my god, Dupree's just racing all the way towards the A bomb site, it looks like. Or at least posting up for a peek, looking to punish. But have a look at Heroic here. Again, we've got the execute towards the B bomb site. Refresh has a tight angle. He'll avoid the flashbangs, but can he avoid getting picked off or traded? Trying to create some space. That's quite a shot from Cadian, but here come the headshots through the smoke. Zipex with the deagle, proving to be a problem again. Cadian can't reposition, and Tessus left in a 1 versus 3. All off of 1 pick from Party, and then chaos can ensue. The bomb, though, is outside Monster. I don't know if Tessus realizes this. Maybe it was the pick earlier that Cadian made. Oh my god, hold on, we're not done with this round just yet. Suddenly things are getting super weird. AWP up top, Tessus short B, the bomb by Monster. There is a lot to play for now. Where does he focus though? Oh boy, straight into the crosshair of Dupree. Once again, the reticle is ready, and Astralis find a third.
Nice round from Astralis. Starts out with that Dupree opener towards Fountain, but yeah, I mean, you described it as a, quote, weird situation. That entire round was so weird. I mean, Astralis executes towards the B bomb site despite the fact that the Dupree is all the way up long A alone with an AWP. Suddenly he turns into a lurker, but it's not even required that he makes any impact on the round after that, because Astralis banging on all fronts towards B. Once you get out that monster pipe, the Deagles will ring and true, finding their mark through the smoke a couple times there. So now they've got 3 on the board. This is suddenly becoming an interesting half, as Heroic with that monster bank being whittled down to next to nothing. So this will be their last buy. You even have a Deagle alone on the Shush. So potential here for Astralis to run away with a few more rounds if they're able to claim this one.
Taking their time, Astralis. They are no strangers to the clock in an anti-force buy round.
This patience, so careful, but Tessus finds the first and awful, awkward angle for Magisk, it seems, towards Tree. He'll bail right out of there.
For the re-peek as well. Glaive still alive, and there's a response now. Bubsky opens the door of opportunity to Heroic, it seems. And we've got Dupree trying to make a difference, but he has been spotted by Stound. They could double peek here. Oh, the angles, the trade, it goes the way of Heroic. And now the problems increase for Astralis. Zipex and Glaive, 2 AK-47s. There's an AWP. That is such a huge smoke grenade. The choke point choked off, which puts a lot in the hand of Glaive. That's a duel they don't need to take. Just buy time. Just waste time here for Refresh to swing in now and Shush to drop Glaive as well. Astralis given nothing but pain by Heroic from round to round.
It's going to have to be the hard way then. Astralis sent... well, actually, they have a little bit of money to work with. It might be a half buy out of them this round. But that window of opportunity, don't often get it, you know, a couple times in a match, maybe. Chance to reset your opponents, and you go into it with an advantage, but Heroic really just locking things down across the board. So they recover financially, and Astralis running out of room, I think, on the map to some degree. Seems like it's always at least losing 1 or 2 when you move towards the A side of the map. Bathrooms has been an absolute massacre for Astralis when they're going up against the op of Cadian. So the B plays have been frequent in this half, but haven't always panned out.
Well, the buy is coming through again for Astralis. Not everybody's got great money on their squad. Bubsky and Dupree with the AK-47s, the Kalashnikovs, dependable weapon. If you're emerging from some kind of watery, potentially muddy situation, it's more reliable than an M4 in many cases. FYI.
Less prone to jamming and malfunctions.
Here comes that smoke again towards the B bomb site deployed as they wait for the initial grenades to go by. On this occasion, Heroic have got presence towards A, so there may be a chance for Astralis to make something of this round. Perhaps they can get into a post-plant situation. The molly goes into the smoke, and Shush is still here now. May want to stay ducked as the bomb site is cut in half by these grenades. Tipex going fishing with the MAC-10 and eventually getting there. And he escapes as well. That's unbelievable. Tess so high, exposed for everybody. That is the furthest MAC-10 kill I've seen in a long time. Refresh really fighting for something here. And suddenly it's Cadian alone, 1 versus 3. And I think this fight has reached its conclusion as Astralis head towards a 4th round.
Tipex towards barrels, just some incredible movement to get in and out of that fight. He finds the first and then long-range MAC-10 sniper frag. You love to see it.
Saw a shoe. I can't believe the MAC-10, but I guess there was maybe a dink from somewhere else. Someone else, rather. Someone and somewhere else. And I think Astralis benefited from the mix-up from Heroic, having aggression towards the A bomb site. Can't do the same play every round. Gave them a numbers advantage towards B. Cadian will look to make it expensive. Oh,
okay.
Oh my God. The Desert Eagles again.
So there it is. Spoke about it a couple rounds ago, but finally being able to reset Heroic. I mean, Astralis right there, that was only 2 AKs invested into the round. You got a MAC-10, a couple Deagles. And they've gone back to this B execute 2 or 3 times in this game, right out of spawn. Especially once they sense A aggression from Heroic, they just instantly react and push into it. And how, oh man, we'll just leave the mini-map. There's 4 players towards A for Heroic and just Shush over here towards Monster Pipe.
Criminally underrated Shush. Thankless task, Shush! Dead Shush, of course. 4 Desert Eagles remain. We'll see if Heroic will throw all this money away on the B bomb site or save it for the next and final round of the first half. I think the decision has mostly been made for them at this point. They have lost all position towards B, and the risk may not be worth it when they could concentrate their efforts in the next round to come. More utility and such won't be a perfect scenario for them either. But for Astralis now, they've got a chance for 6 rounds on their T side rather, which in the end may not be too bad.
Yeah, that ain't bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. It's been a long road to these rounds, but they still give them chance. They give them, oh my God, I can't speak English
all
anymore.
good, man. It's
they
all
still
good.
give themselves a chance to build a reasonable half out of this, despite the dominance in the fashion in which Heroic have been winning rounds. There we go.
They still seem super limited to me in terms of their willingness to take map control, but they're showing that they don't necessarily need that. I mean, you've already got 5 rounds on the board. You know, forget whatever I'm trying to analyze here. If you're able to shove it through Monster and make it work, they have 9-5, already respectable scoreline. And this is one of those advantages of, you know, if you're an underdog in a matchup, I think there is something to be said for starting on the T side of a map. You know, if you're going to have the worst end of it, might as well play out all 15 rounds and get whatever rounds you can so that you don't need to come back on the more difficult side. So that's like just the mark of optimism that I will give for Astralis now, where Heroic throughout have looked controlled and confident. But we just see 4 Deagles and an MP9 getting tested over here from Shush. Bubsky will fall, that's the first.
Oh, too many man spraying in that direction, and a push. It seems like it will continue. Stan misses the avoids the flashbang. And here come the meat shots from the Deagle. There's a rifle to collect. Not sure he managed to run over, but Deagle is still here. The AK will be collected as well. Absolute carnage as Astralis try to force their way through, but the police will not allow them.
Deagle spam for days, just...
Oh, that's a nice shot from Glaive, but he needs a lot more than that. Opening kill for him in the round, and he needs 3 more. Cadian on the flank. He's got the sound cues, and this one should be gratis because Glaive cannot defend himself, stuck on the side of the wall. And indeed, it will be 10 rounds for Heroic at half-time. Astralis have an uphill struggle on their pick of Overpass, and it continues after the break. Correct your posture, people, because the game is resuming. Drink some water as well.
I feel attacked here, man. Okay. Setting up. We're back.
Indeed we are. Big pistol round coming, and Astralis need this more than a Heroic do, that's for sure. They have half the score. Heroic with 4-man on road towards the A-bomb site. Refreshers keeping an eye on things with the P250, and again, a Super Mario Brothers, or your jumping game of choice. Let's not be too biased here. Continues on the long position. Down goes Magisk. He sees the bomb as well. And that means rotation for Astralis as they are blind on 8. The headlights are off. Zipex and Dupree will be towards the B-bomb site. Sounds in connector now. Very hopeful shots through the wooden panel with the USPS. Can see Dupree hiding by the barrel. There's no flash or anything like that for the Astralis side. Down goes Zipex now. And Bubsky will look to take position in the meantime. This is almost one of those around-the-world plays. Cadian just creeping on the A-bomb site. Got to win a duel, though. Glaive knows what the urgency is like here, and there's a swing. Bomb spotted at the front of the site. Will they dare go back again? It will be a long rotation for the remainder of Heroic, and it seems they will frag out. Up close now. They've got more bullets in their magazines, but it won't matter because the headshots are raining in for Astralis, and the CT pistol is theirs.
That's a hell of a hold from Astralis, really. I mean, Cadian had read the situation perfectly. Heroic doing the, you mentioned the around the world, going back down connector towards B. Astralis followed suit. But Cadian taking so much ground. Really, that duel between him and Glaive, the two IGLs duking it out on the site, that had huge ramifications for the outcome of the round. I mean, as soon as Glaive gets that first kill into Cadian, he knows there's no other teammates for Heroic close. Gets information and just really delays their ability to push into the site. So fountain control for Astralis is the name of the game here in the second round force buy for Heroic. Proactive approach from Dupree. See whether or not Tessus sniffs this out sooner rather than later.
What the hell's going on? Man, that was insane. I've never seen that before.
Just being the decoy. No,
like he was stuck. But yeah, he was the expendable man, I suppose, in that scenario.
Yeah, if you bounce your head off the top of a doorway, you basically get to your movement resets to where you can jump away right away again.
Oh my
Goodbye, man.
God! Oh, I don't think I can cope with that.
You had to have heard that, right?
Oh man, I feel so sorry for him. Oh my, it was so loud as well. He probably jumped out of his chair. We'll see if Astralis can hold on, but I'm still recovering myself from that situation. Zipex could still clutch this. He could. 2 of the 3 players low. I don't know that he'll go for it, but if he does, then who the hell knows? Wondering what's going on the A bomb site, but a bomb is headed towards B.
James, this is wild, unprecedented, and undocumented situations like this have never occurred. Second round force by win.
Never seen
for Heroic. Never seen it.
Unheard of.
Wouldn't know anything about it. I mean, you got a kit, you got some nades, you got armor.
Can we get some candles in the chat, please, for that boosted kill? Because, my God, that probably took a year off his life.
Press F to pay some respects. Who was that got wrecked?
Bubsky, I believe.
Oh.
The moment he looked away.
Timing strike.
It's like he's walking down the street and a car just landed on him.
Don't see that every day.
My God.
Oh.
Well, I'll have to come to terms with that now, as it has been made history. So we've got 4 second-round wins, we're saying here. The 4 spies are real. And again, we said that it was must-win for Astralis. But this is worse for Astralis because it puts their loss bonus in the bin. It takes longer for them to recover should they lose this round as well. Double FAMAS, that's never good. And the 3 Desert Eagles for the Astralis squad. They are ill-equipped to defend this B bomb site or much of anything, to be honest. I'll start with 2 players towards A, towards Party and such, but they are already retracting towards the site. Like they're on string. Hello, Glaive spots a little something. Fadeaway flashbang is very strong indeed. But what will the hold be like? Again, the smokes can cut the site in half, and that can slow things down. We've got the chain flashbangs from Heroic. See the smoke from Glaive, but Heroic are moving away. They have 0 map control, but again, they are just not afraid to make decisions. And those smokes being up really, like Astralis don't really know what's happening just yet. We are seeing a rotation though.
Yeah, they're getting denied a hell of a lot of information. Of course, Debris in a panic is already, fleeing back towards the A side of the map. But the silver lining here, James, is that you've still got a few smoke grenades and flashes to work with for Heroic. Yeah, you don't have map control, but this has to be a gamble call out of Astralis, just a full commit. And actually, that's early info. Good job by Debris to get that.
He's still peeking.
Oh, dangerous game.
He must have seen the bomb on long now. That's got to be a full rotation. Magic's creeping. He could be instrumental now. If he stays alive here, it limits where the bomb can be planted. He hears the flank on the way. There's the first one. Not ready for the second, though, but the bomb's on the floor. 20 seconds left, and this rotation may just pay off for Astralis, but Refresh is on the way himself. Down to the Desert Eagle now. No. Patient shot, 11 seconds. 1 more to find. Glaive on the stairs.
Not like this.
Does he commit to the bomb plant? Going for the fake now. He's got 2 bullets, but he spotted him. 5 seconds. He has the full commit now. Glaive! Oh, just about getting there. And it will be the round from Astralis, but oh my God, the margins.
I'm losing my hair over here. Just such a stressful round for Astralis. You have all the advantages, multiple different occasions. Heroic sense it. Elect to go back towards A, and really it's Dupree throwing that extra jiggle peek that almost cost him his life. But what it did gain was the information, as you mentioned, that bomb was over there towards Flower Pot, so rotations fly in. He even gets 2 before he falls, despite being tagged by that scout. Pulling that off angle just in the corner of the wall behind Dice. And another force by victory, this time going the way of Astralis. Despite that fact, we've got a massive buy from Heroic. They had recovered some MP9s and a scout in the round prior, so little to no investment. Not too much to stress about if you're Heroic. You still got 4-round cushion. And you've got an up on Cadian, so this is a standard gun round coming out of them.
Wild swing from Bubsky. His help is a little far behind, but Zipex is there with an angle. And that's some information for Refresh to pass on to his team, but they're so far back. They don't know what the climate is elsewhere just yet. And with the AWP in tow on Cadian, they'll want to look for some entries. I wonder...
I love how quiet they're being. Right? Like, Astralis took all this map control towards B, so you expect a response at A, but they're not giving it to them. They're just playing the contact game. And so this player on A site, I believe that's Magisk. Okay, that's a start.
A ring of the bell as well. Astralis are in trouble here. Magisk has got 13 HP. It doesn't matter at this point how much information you have towards that B bomb site. Well, I mean towards T-spawn, let's say. We can see Glaive checking short B because connector can still be an issue. In that last round, we saw a full rotation from Heroic with no map control, so they're not shy to do it. The execute towards A will begin. Zipex now trying to play crossfire with his team, but got to be real careful about these fights. You can see Shush looking for the trade fragger, jumping over now, loses the first duel, but Tessus is here, and that's always going to be a problem for Astralis. Glaive with a great angle, making it a 2 versus 2, and the rotation is on, holding position for now. 20 seconds. Oh, Caden's going to offer the full fake, actually. We've seen plays like this before with 2 players remaining, but will both players exit? Magisk is on the way. Oh, he's missed a kill, which gives Magisk an option, maybe. The bomb being planted on the A bomb site now. Does Cadian start rotating? Where does he go? Magisk popping up, playing the headshot angle. Smart from him. And down falls back. Cadian has angles on the bomb. Heroic, a master stroke so far, but can they pull this one off? There is a smoke for the bomb. There's no defuse kit on the 2 remaining players. Starting to creep in now. They know they're in trouble. They have to know that Cadian's creeping somewhere. The bomb defusal starts. There's some tagging against Magisk. He's got 11 HP. Still committed now. No bullets yet. 3 seconds to go. He's still on the bomb. They've got the wrong angle. I can't believe it.
No way do you get a 10-second stick out of that. I don't think they heard the... I think they, you know, the divider player maybe heard the initial stick, and that's why we saw the spray come out, but...
They can't believe it either.
I mean, you got to know, okay, it's likely that Astralis even has a kit, right? But once that 5-second mark passes, it's almost like, okay, that's a relief. Haven't heard the second tap.
Got to spread the jam. He's just putting jam on one corner of the bread. It's not,
going the wrong way.
A good piece of toast. You've got to spread that jam.
Oh, man, that's a big round win. Magisk getting it done 11-8. Narrowed margin down to 3. And again, this is such a scrappy game, but neither team able to establish economic dominance as of yet. Actually, speak of the devil, finding one under refresh at the beginning of the round here. And that fight towards short, oftentimes on T-side defaults, Heroic do elect, as I mentioned, on Nuke, to give him a lot of responsibility to play by himself. But this is Debris getting pressured over here at Divider, and he has no idea that Tessus is around the corner, and that's a free A bomb site, James.
Yeah, those sound cues are exciting to the likes of Heroic, and the problems persist for Astralis. Out of position now, smoked off and choked off is Glaive. The man advantage now for Heroic on the A bomb site. Astralis could lose everything. How much do they invest into this retake? I think they're thinking about that very quickly as well before they went for that boost. If they lose one more player, they're close to useless in the next round, however, with 3. And things could still happen. And you can see Heroic seem to realize immediately. They're so on the ball, it's absurd.
Somebody should do an entire YouTube series about how incredible it is to watch Heroic play the game. Just...
Oh, man. Tessus, of course. Who else?
That famous Shoxy saying, 5 fingers of the same hand. That is exactly what I see when I watch Heroic play. Just so impressive. And, I mean, it's down over there at the front of A bathrooms who recognizes, okay, point of contact just fell. That was Dupree. That was the divider player. That was the guy holding A bomb site. You know, there may be a disjointed presence over there towards Long Flower Pod or even rotating quickly out of B heaven. But nevertheless, he's able to just quietly walk up, creep up onto the A site. And Astralis have no idea that they've already lost the round before it even really begins. And their money is finally gone. But Dupree finds the first here. Refresh a lot of damage into him as well.
Oh,
and just follows up with another one on Tessus.
The crab walk forced his way out of the seafood restaurant. He'll put Heroic on the plate. It's already awkward. There's just like a lack of stabilization for these squads. There's no comfort. It's like when you're at your aunt's house and the sofa's got a plastic on it and you move around.
I know exactly what you're talking about, which is why that's so funny to me. It's I've got one of those relatives that everything is just constantly being kept clean. You know what this kind of smacks of to me? This reminds me a little bit. I think I got to cast that game between Big and Sprout. Just every other round is a force buy, just an absolute brawl, a mess of a game. And right here, I feel like this Danish showdown has delivered in that regard.
The problem is, because they're walking, at some point they're going to walk into an angle and someone is probably going to die or get tagged with a scout, which will lead to their demise later on. But Heroic have been good. Remember Nuke? They were good in these kind of situations, holding on to things. That may not be the case, though, here on Overpass. There's a flank from Magisk, and it even gets worse for them. Shush now is surrounded, and Refresh can't particularly help him. He's risking losing the AWP. There's a jump peek and a punish. There could be 4 rifles in this round for... Oh, no, they can't be because they dispose of some, but there'll be a bunch of booty
Loot.
for Astralis to take from this round.
The loot box round there.
Back and forth we go. They're not giving up on this, but the problem is for Astralis, even winning this round, if they continue to trade rounds, Heroic are still 3 rounds ahead of them.
Right.
So it favors Heroic as long as they continue to go back and forth.
Magisk, who actually came into this half with only 3 frags in the half prior, has gotten, I think, a 3K and a 2K on these force buy rounds with the Deagle in hand, and that has just been enough to propel Astralis back into the driver's seat of this half. But again, as you mentioned, trading these rounds is going to limit their benefits moving forward. They need to string some of these rounds together.
I'm interested in the toilet setup from Astralis. Dupree and Magisk, you can see the pixel angle being held here. So if they walk past, then he may go for a more impactful situation. But the rotation will be long, especially with Tesses lurking with a Desert Eagle in the party position. So should the push come through, then interesting things will happen. Oh, that's been heard. Oh, there it is. I thought he might fall off first, but no. Stan will get the opening kill. Again, Astralis are stuck towards this A bomb site, and they're not moving just yet. And maybe they won't if the execute comes through. Tesses wondering, so is Magisk, though. His helmet's been spotted, but can it be popped? Either way, he'll try to just entertain him, just keep him there. But Heroic seems to be moving away from B, maybe. They've got 33 seconds, however. Tesses has been dropped, and Cadian's suggesting some audio cues towards the A bomb site. But the smoke will go up for the balcony. That's an important kill. This one's looking a little labored for Heroic as time starts to run down now. Moving into the site, Zipex has to be dealt with. The shadow spotted. Look how much time he's buying just by going as deep as possible and exposing Heroic. Chasing Zipex exposes them to everybody else. He died on his sword for the team. And Heroic finally get another consecutive round.
You called it, man. I mean, just being able to give his teammates an opportunity to... Well, he doesn't necessarily get saved at the end, but what it does is just deny Heroic a lot of space. Makes them chase him down. Would have been negligible damage with the scout in hand either way. So Heroic forced back into the pits. I mean, they're broke here. 5 players immediately flying towards Monster, and we may get just 2 pop flashes out here. This could be a quick one, James.
In they go, Bubsky blind. Zipex here to help from the barrels, falling back, getting a drive-by by the Glockers down. Bubsky still alive though, and still delivering. That bomb goes inches closer and closer, and Glaive will post up as Bubsky's low. Smart stuff, nice exchange. Stam's got an M4 somewhere. Magic's deciding where to throw his HE grenade, and he is ready for Stam at the same time. That's a big gun taken away, and Tesses will drop soon after. Astralis now 1 round away from Heroic's score of 12.
Yeah, this is turning into a tight affair. And that's 3 straight for Astralis. A few rounds in a row for us as well, where we've mentioned, well, they've got to do just that to build themselves a little bit of a nest egg moving into the later stages of this game. Heroic, I mean, this was looking in hand at maybe following the conclusion of the second half. You know, almost written in the script, forced by win. Another fast B play from Heroic. and immediately Zipex falls.
Oh, this is bad for Astralis. They've gone for a big push towards the party position. They are very OOP right now, out of position. That's going to give great post-plant spots for Heroic. And that's the round. That third kill has to be the round. And at this point, they're just trying to hold this position to have somewhere to save. And again, just like Astralis did on their T side late on, picked around towards B, where Heroic had a focus towards that party position, and they'll do exactly the same in this round, Heroic. Just as Astralis start to catch up with them, they start to pull away once more.
Oh my goodness. Like, you want to definitely get this off out of the hands of Dupree. Refresh does so. It's a little bit upsetting if you're an Astralis fan because, yeah, you do want to try and drop as many of these AKs and get them out of the hands of Heroic if you can, as their economic situation just gets better from here on out, but maybe a little bit of an overcommittal there from Dupree. It does cost him the op, and luckily they're able to rebuy back into this round. Actually, 2 ops now. Maybe the dual-wielding AWP threats will be enough to stunt the pushes here from Heroic. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, that was an early A presence push from Astralis. Heroic didn't even need to read it. It was a rush from the start. Zipnix just had no help towards Monster. Now he's getting shot in the back from Glaive, from Refresh. They just want him out of the server, James. But 13-11 now, Heroic. 2 rounds separate these two teams, and they have full control of this game right now.
Got any mollies to take the AWP angles away. Dupree goes ahead, though. But you can see it spreads and forces him into the open, but you can see no one's peeking just yet. And he can retain his spot. So the smoke is for the inside of the toilets to take the AWP angles away. And the molly for Divider is the second one. Needs to learn that molly jump throw. So many nice nades in this demo of this series. See Dupree falling back now. So we can catch people coming in or going in or coming out of connector and swinging around the outside of the toilets. There is a... so this is... normally you would be in the elevated position. You can hop on the thing behind, but that might be pre-fired. Moving into battle sniper mode. Hasn't seen the shadow just yet. He's got 2 coming his way. The pre-fire is on the way, and there will be a trade from Refresh. That'll be important for position. But Madness looking for the third one. Done a lot of damage now. We've seen many Deagle kills from Zipex already, and he may be looking for another one here as he's got a Deagle and 24 HP. Glaive moving forward. Spots one of the 2 players. What the hell just happened? He's got a molly up and a HE for Divider. Refresh may go straight into it. That's 50 HP gone just like that, but both these CTs are in the red. How do they hard body this bomb now? You can see Glaive post up with the AWP. Will there be a jiggle from Refresh? He's probably expecting an M4. No one's on the bomb just yet. They don't have a defuse kit either. Not peeking. They're lining up for him. He's got the right kill, and that will be the 14th round.
Does he have it? This is going to be real close.
Hold on a second. I don't think he's got it, but maybe he does. It's going to be a close one either way. Oh, he's got it!
No way. Didn't have a kit on hand, and somehow that defuse kit, maybe there was just the 2 of them at front bathrooms.
I thought the round was over. You saw the side from Magisk.
Yeah.
My God.
Wow. Dupree really just in a bad way, but Magisk somehow getting 2 makes this retake all but possible. And somehow, from the claws of uncertainty, Zipnix rips that one away.
And exhale.
Yeah. Take a deep breath, y'all.
Let the blood flow through the body. So many narrowly won rounds in this half.
Mm-hmm.
Just when you think, all right, Heroic are pulling away for a 2-0, Astralis hang on. They've got their hand on the edge of the cliff and they're trying to pull themselves back up from the brink of destruction. They've got most of the rounds in this half, actually. Might not even feel that way, the way they've edged some of them. And how both teams have been on the back foot in terms of equipment and so on.
Yeah, it feels like 2 or 3 different times Heroic has reset Astralis, and it's like, wow, now they're set to run away with this. Everything's going to be great for them. They'll close out the map. Instead, really, really impressive stuff from Astralis in these really clutch situations. Obviously, they're a literal clutch situation where Zipex closes out the 1v1 against Refresh. Almost made a hero play of his own. Instead, we'll get full buys pretty much out of both teams. Famas and an MP9 on the side of Astralis, but Dupree does have this AWP in hand and a lot of information towards AR already. Cautiously, though, Heroic is stacked up behind the smoke and just waiting it out. Look at the information that they're denying just by chilling right now.
Imagine if a nade landed there.
It's an HLTV rating boost.
The brutality of it. Sometimes you see them after the Molotov that's thrown, but not on this occasion. So you can see Heroic are changing the pace. They've been keen to throw a lot of junk towards the B-bomb sites at the beginning of rounds. And again, you have these grenades to take the AWP angles away, which also takes information away. We can see maybe Dupree falls back to that spot again with the little planting area. And here comes the swing towards that B-bomb site. That's a big headshot. Not sure if the bomb's been spotted just yet, but there is some rotation from Astralis. Readjusting now to 4 versus 5. They've had to dump a lot of their utility to hold on to potential pushes. Oh, this could yield quite something. They're lining up in a perfect place for them as well. Magisk, not sure if he spotted a player towards short, but that is quite the response. They really needed that as well. Suddenly it's 4v3 favor of Astralis, but we could see a developing situation here. Tesses, does he pick at the right time? He does. Big headshot. This one by the truck, hasn't seen him just yet as he goes towards the bank position. Bubsky focusing on the front, taken out from the back. And once again, it swings in favor of Heroic. Zipek saying hello, Tesses staying silent. They've lost position, Astralis. Their money's in the bin as well.
Was looking so good in this round. But this space being taken by Tessis, I mean, that is, yeah, this is a save call for sure. It'll be 14-12, Astralis on the brink and just teetering on the edge. Yeah, they're getting pushed off, it seems like now. Not a lot of money to work with in the closing rounds of the half. So if you can save these 2 M4s, that'd be fantastic, but I mean, it really starts over towards short. I don't know if Glaive was getting pop flashed in, but when you go down 5v4 that early in the round, it seems like Heroic just has so much room to maneuver, and Dupree just getting timinged over there towards long. And yet another round. I'm sure one of these teams wants back, and that's
I can't believe
beautiful boost.
that happened and they still, like, it's not even that they still lost the round, it's that it just turned around so suddenly once again. It's a really tight game between these 2 teams. Very well matched at the moment, I think, on this game of Overpass. But Astralis are running out of rounds to lose and then trade back. That much is clear. Heroic have retained this lead for a while now, and they have extended it to 2 once again. And we really are getting into the arse end of Astralis' economy. If they lose this, it's match points. So there is a lot of pressure on this one round for Astralis. And we can see that pressure on the cameras now. Dupree 4x3, black bars, even with the webcam.
It's tough to say this, but honestly, you've won so many Deagle rounds, not only just in this half, but in this series. It's no wonder to me that they're going to say, okay, we got these 2 M4s, we're going to invest back into this round, but gotta think.
Wait a minute.
What?
He didn't jump throw the smoke. He just
You mean he
threw
didn't
it.
mean to? You mean he didn't mean to smoke the middle of B site?
No.
Unfortunate.
Failed monster smoke there. Not what Astralis needed at this point. That may make them nervous. However, there is no push towards the B-bomb site. As we can see, the presence is passive to some degree around the playground to start. Looking for a play from Astralis. They don't get one, and they head towards the Old Faithful. They love the smell of ammonia and the sewage, Heroic, and they look for it once again as they head over to this B-bomb site. Refresh crawling back somewhat, with some legs spotted now. We still have Astralis in forward positions around the toilets on the A-bomb site, and Heroic can go back and forth, but here comes the push into B. 4 versus 3 now. We've got huge problems for Glaive as the Desert Eagle. Or do we? As he gets that kill, Magisk is dropped. There goes Glaive as well. Lots of G's. Dupree now 1 versus 3, but not for long. He'll be put out of his misery by Heroic, who make it to match point on Overpass.
That's so tough, and I can't tell whether or not this is Heroic outplaying Astralis across the board over there on the monster end of the map, but it does seem as though Maybe it does, I guess, start with the short control kind of collapsing. Magisk does trade it back out, but Zipex is left all on his lonesome to hold monsters so often. It's difficult to discern whether or not it's him playing on an island by himself unnecessarily, or if Heroic are doing a tremendous job of isolating him. But he's taking these 1v2, 1v3 duels sometimes over here at B, and it has just not worked out ever. To the point where Heroic just know that they can hit it late in the round. There's a nice start, though. Refresh gets taken out early. Of course, this is potentially the last round of the game. You've invested everything into it, Astralis. 3 Desert Eagles, an AK, and a Scout. All you can really speak for. Cadian, though, answers things back for Heroic. Now we got a 4-on-4. A lot of damage dealt, though.
Well, it's getting awkward again, isn't it? It's getting awkward again. This is Freya taking a shot, levels of awkward. It's probably going to end in disaster, one way or another. Disaster if Astralis lose, because the match is done, and maybe disaster if Heroic lose, because the money's going to be all over the shop, and they haven't closed it out when they've had a great opportunity to do so. 39 seconds now as they continue to creep. Dupree could have a strong flank here. We'll see how long Cadian looks for it. Holding things down as he can have 3 men approaching the A-bomb site. He starts to rotate now. Magisk with 1 kill. I can see the flank on the radar. Dupree catches Cadian. Can't deploy his grenade either. And there will be another trade. 19 seconds now. The bomb's in the front of A. Bubsky's on the way. Clave to try and clutch for Deagle and or a Scout. Molly's at the back. 10 seconds. Someone's got to commit to this bomb plant. That much is clear. Tessis now 13 HP. It's going to be a disaster. Surely it is. They're lining up for them. And here they are, Astralis, not done with this round or this game or this match just yet.
Somebody show me the stats. Somebody show me how often Astralis has been able to win these force buy rounds just off the back of the Deagles. I swear Magisk has a 100% conversion rate on his first bullet out of his Deagle. It's impressive how consistently they're delivering on those kinds of rounds. But right here, you invested plenty into it. Okay, got to make it work now when it counts.
Ooh, it's another lineup. They were done with the round, of course, because they converted it, Astralis, and they will take short B as well. They also have aggression towards the fountain area. You can see the boost from Heroic. Yielded nothing on this occasion. Now what do? They don't have any map control.
You got 2 players towards playground. You've got Bubsky pushed all the way up under the terrace side of ladder. And Heroic don't know it yet, but they are walking straight into a hornet's nest over here towards fountain.
This is outrageous. Jiggle peeking the playground. Clave now going for the Deagle. And it seems that momentum is in favor of Astralis now. They're going to have nothing left for this last round, Heroic. Nothing at all. $2,000 per person apart from Stown. This is a disaster.
Glaive taking over, really. I mean, we've seen 2 or 3 different times Astralis kind of investing a lot of resources into a fountain push. Glaive willing to take the duel. Kind of a dicey one at the edge of the smoke, but this is just beautiful footwork, maneuvering out and back in again. And handling that choke point really well. Obviously, you can knock your head off the doorway, bunny hop in, but you're still going to get wall banged consistently. That wood wall is paper thin, as demonstrated. And to me, that's just a beautiful response out of Astralis. There's these moments when Heroic in the mid game are maybe even at a player advantage, but even when they have economic control, they're so confident they're just going to go back and contact somewhere and trade out the kills when need be. But Astralis had insurance, 3 players all containing that ladder area, and this is Tessis coming through that fountain. Molly looking for an early challenge. You won't find one just yet, but he's swinging towards bathrooms where there is 1 player at Divider.
That looks like maybe the easiest and most consistent incendiary towards T-Ramp.
Clip it.
Fastest one as well. I'm downloading this demo immediately. There are so many grenades to, like better lineups or ones I don't know to learn. Mostly better lineups. quick peek from Magis. You can see he doesn't fight to the death. He's looking for information. It is early in rounds of this series on overpass. No over rotation required. Although, as I say that, it might actually be an over rotation because we've got a two-man push on long. But maybe playing against time, expecting Heroic to run the clock down. They can start a flank. We can see a take of short B in the meantime. Well, Dupree's going to have it to do. 4 Desert Eagles versus the AWP. Does he go deeper than this? We see the grenade start to stream in as he falls back. That's going to leave Zipex on an island to some degree. He actually has some help from Bubsky now, but how do you re-pick that angle? He's got to fall back. 34 seconds and it begins. 3 versus 2 now. Heroic, surely not. Tessus with the information peak. He knows one's short B. He doesn't know where the other one is. They're both in the same position though, and they're rotating towards A. How about that for a hard read? The spray almost catching somebody, but not quite. Glaive racing towards the A bomb site. They're against the clock now. They've got a plant for CT. We still have one on the B bomb site. Magisk has a kit, but he's on the wrong site for now. Glaive on the way. He has an incendiary. They only need 1 bullet to kill 2 of these 3 players. There is so much at stake here. Down with a massive headshot. That changes everything now. Magisk in the clutch. He knows only where 1 person is, which means the trade frags might be here. Charging to the site. There's the first one. Refresh up close now. Doesn't go around the corner enough. That's going to allow a crossfire for the remaining Heroic players. Touches the bomb. Tessus on the low ground by the stairs. And Refresh is creeping as well. There's 1 more to go. Can he find him in time? That bomb's almost ticked. I think it's too late now. Tessus just has to wait like 1 second, and that's a wrap.
Oh,
Has
man,
he got it?
almost.
Surely he hasn't got it. So close. What a great effort from Astralis to really make it hard. And you can see the pop-off from Heroic. They will do it into just about, and boy, did Astralis make them do it the hard way.
GGNT almost getting it done there towards the end. Valiant effort, but a really terrific mid-round call from Heroic just to go up connector and sprint towards A. Glaive on the long flank gets out position, outdone 16-14. Heroic take map 2 and the series.
That was a banger of a match. That much is true. I think people were expecting that, and boy, did it deliver. What are your takeaways from that, briefly?
Astralis honestly came into this matchup a little bit stronger than I even anticipated. Heroic looking pretty good on overpass considering. But it seems like Astralis still has some work to do to refine the map pool and be competitive on all battlefronts against the the domestic counterparts of Heroic.
Freya Spears, were you as entertained by that series as we were?
Seeing it off, we were running through from the green room when it was the scoreline hit, 15 rounds for Heroic, and man, Astralis nearly bring it back.
That was a bonkers match. And that last round was really cool because it is exemplified a couple things from both teams. Like Glaive's big rotation around was supposed to be really tricky, but then Stown 1 step ahead, holding the other side of dice, and people might be like, oh, that's obviously the best angle, but most people would not expect a long flank from 2 players who were just on short B moments ago. Glaive did the exact best play possible, not coming up bathrooms too quickly, and they even avoided the plant to make sure bathrooms wasn't obvious, and Stown was just like, as long as you're bank, I can hold on to this, and it was just like, it was like, it was like 2018 to 2021 CS. You know what I mean? Like every little bit with Heroic. It was crazy. Close match, though. It really was.
Yeah, Heroic just, in those super tight moments like that, I mean, both teams actually were pulling off some kind of miraculous rounds here and there. The Deagles from Magisk, the Deagles from Heroic. It felt like everybody was lethal, regardless of the weapons or utility that they had. It shows just how deep both of these 2 teams are.
Yeah, they really had a lot going for them. And at first, it felt like it was going to be a wash, totally. So credit to the resilience from Astralis, but you can tell there was a lot of positions where Heroic were very clearly aware of the exact plays that Astralis were going to make, especially in some moments where there's the bathrooms guy fighting the balloons guy. Those were really weird situations between Magisk and Tessus. And then there was another round where Dupree was opping bathrooms by himself, and Tessus walked up the outside of bathrooms and then just swung on him on the inside of bathroom. And that's not a kind of play you would make in a pug or a scrim or versus a team you don't really understand very well. They risked a lot with that peek, and he knew that Dupree was going to be holding a certain type of angle. And from our perspective, I don't think there was that much information. So hard to know where the read came from, but clearly these teams were very ready for each other before the game started.
Yeah, incredibly well prepared indeed. And something that Lex was bringing up as well, the fact that Astralis managed to bring it to Heroic so convincingly, right? I don't think, sure, it was their map pick, they did lose out so closely, but I don't think anybody really expected, looking back, especially at the DreamHack Masters game, for both of the maps to be this close.
Yeah, this is kind of not, like, this is surprising because Astralis were pretty weak just the other day against Mousesports on their CT side. They had so many difficulties handling the aggression from Frozen, the mid-rounding from Dexter, but for Heroic, they had a better beat on them. They understood what it was that Heroic were doing, but the thing is that it's so difficult to do that because Heroic are such an active team, and that's what I want to give Heroic the most credit for on their CT side, is that it feels like every single section of a round is outlined completely by Heroic, that they make a 7-star plan in every single round as to what is supposed to be happening, who's supposed to be moving where, how we're going to set up those kinds of plays. It feels like Heroic right now are one of the most active teams around in modern CS, and they also have so much skill on the roster top to bottom that they can set up any player. It's not just a constant support player. It's sometimes it's Tessa setting up Shush, sometimes it's Shush setting up Stound. Like, it goes all over the place, and everybody is so ready to adapt to every single role all the time. And when people today talk about how maybe CS doesn't have as many defined roles, I think you look at a team like Heroic, and yes, they have some roles. Like, there still is an anchor, there's still an opera, there's still a leader, but the fact that they can just switch in the middle of a round to exactly fit what their team needs is what makes this team so deadly constantly.
Yeah, it's a hugely versatile mix of players coming into it as well, and it's something we were setting up in the pre-game, saying that any single one of these players can be popping off, and once again, we see this happening throughout the entire series.
I think there's so many similarities between them, and of course, a team like a Heroic is building their brand off of the back of like a really strong era from Astralis and how much work they put into developing the game, but they're cutting edge in the sense that it feels like they just have more energy than Astralis to, like Maui mentioned, to keep the energy so high in all of these specific situations throughout a match, throughout a series, throughout a best of 5, throughout a tournament, and that's the thing. It's just that, you know, right now you got to work harder than ever to get every little advantage, and there's not many teams that are, you know, going to be able to keep the grind up on top of keep that that level of communication at its peak for that long. And you can really see it, how the way they're transitioning between setups, like Maui pointed out. It's like them and Gambit are pretty much in a league of their own in that regard.
Well, let's put a specific situation under the microscope a little bit. We've got round number 7, which you picked out, Maui, from the first half of Overpass. So what are we delving into here?
Yeah, so I think if we just get into this one, we'll see that, if I'm not mistaken, this is when Heroic were doing, we're having a really solid CT side, and what we're going to be looking at mostly is Cadian's perspective and how mobile he was this game, because it goes to show that he's the in-game leader for this team, but Heroic are not sacrificing any firepower with Cadian at the helm of this roster, because he moves into connector early on to find the first pick, moves all the way back to long to find Magisk, who's trying to catch a timing perhaps, not thinking that Cadian would move all the way around like that, and then Cadian repositions to Divider at this point, where he is joined by Tessis, and they're able to deal with this threat in Dupree. All around, just so much mobility from Cadian, and it's impossible for Astralis to find the exact angles, the right fights to actually stop this man.
He was in tune with virtually every timing in this play. There's, I think it was 4 op headshots in this situation. And as soon as he started walking, there was a threat that was also walking towards him, and that's just how much of in the flow state that Cadian was this game.
Yeah, and we saw them getting a huge streak of CT rounds as well. Was there anything that you were really looking at from Heroic that allowed them to be cementing those string of rounds together?
That was huge. I mean, he was nearly at the top of the scoreboard. Tessis had another series, back-to-back series, I guess, versus Astralis, where he just completely farmed them, and I think that was big too. They were getting outclassed. I mean, I hate to boil it again down to frags, but Magisk was 3 and 13 in the first half and became a lot better in the second, but that explains the first a lot.
Well, we can take a look at a particular moment that's featuring Magisk, round 26, I believe it is, which starts off with a string of kills from Magisk, but Heroic, they do manage to turn it back in their favor.
Yeah, this is Magisk kind of getting back on the wagon here with this nice 2K spray down, not wasting a bullet, and then This is where the round actually, should pretty much be over. That much information, those 2 kills that quickly. But look at Heroic. They're already thinking about other things. They throw this flash towards B. They're trying to pull a rotation. Tessus waits for a timing here, and it looks like, oh, why doesn't he get opt? Well, his teammate at Bathroom pulled focus so that he could take that peek, and Bubsky was stuck on the truck eventually, only to get cleared. And this is Heroic just 1 step ahead. And you can see that not only do they get these kills, but they're already moving ahead with the next part of the plan. The smoke and CT is coming after Tessus gets his first frag. They flow into this execute in a way that makes it very hard to, even if you play perfectly, to get ahead of.
Yeah, I think that kind of Dexter was alluding to how Mousesports play this sort of loose style, and I wouldn't say that Heroic is maybe loose, but it just feels like they always know what's coming next, and they don't have to worry about maybe every single smoke being perfect or every molly just being is part of an execute. They're willing to take those dry peaks from time to time. They're willing to give players like Tessus that kind of space so that when he thinks there's an opportunity, he can just take that timing and look for a fight, and it's supported by the fact that not only does he have incredibly high skill, but they just support it just enough. Like how Launders was saying, there was a little bit of a distraction there in Bathrooms, and on top of that, there was a huge play going towards B, so Astralis probably thought it was going to be a B hit the whole time. All in all, both Heroic and Mousesports right now are doing so much all over the map constantly right now that it's very hard to get a true read on what they're doing round to round.
And I don't think it would be doing this map justice without delving into round number 30, the final round to be cementing this one out, which came so incredibly close.
Yeah, this felt like me, you, Freya, and Maui standing here at the desk watching this round was like just hanging out on the couch, watching a game, and it was just so exciting, like just absorbing all the moments, but it was just so visceral and reactive. And the B hit comes in, and immediately we're like, gasp, because they pull this rotation. They agree to it instantly, 20 seconds left. They don't hang out to fight, and they run back to the A site. Now, the timing is very clear for both sides, but Glaive says, all right, that's the only next-gen play I can make, and let's go around to long as fast as possible. And sometimes the T will rotate here, back up into long, and Glaive could get that kill, but instead he doesn't see anything, but he gets info on Bank, and this still is a very nice round for him, where he's still ahead of a timing. But Stound's already watching the long peak, the instant headshot, just to show him that he's 1 step ahead of someone who's usually 1 step ahead. And now it's Mad just getting a very nice attempt in a 1v3.
Yeah, Mad just actually almost pulls this off, but I love that Heroic in that situation not only were able to breach that B bomb site, but the fact that they decide to rotate towards A is, on top of that, just such a call that just ensures you have the best odds in this round, and perfectly played by Tessus, by the way, only giving just 4 seconds left for the, I mean, he waited until there were 4 seconds left on that defuse. That was just really well played to close things out for him and Heroic. But the thing is that Heroic, they always want to play the best odds possible in situations like that, where you could have planted on B. There was a case for that. You could play it from heaven, but they wanted to get the most positional advantage that they could in that situation by going all the way up to A, and it paid off for them.
Well, we can check in with one of the Heroic players as we have the lovely Tessus on the line for our winners interview. First of all, huge congratulations, man. That was such a tense last round to be closing things out on. Can you walk me through what was happening there?
Thanks. It was a really intense round. Cadian said to me in the start of the round, go away and see if you can get a timing. And I was out picnic, tried to like walk up, but then I got spotted, and we just went into B through short. And yeah, we got the side. I saw one coming from behind, and we just all agreed on to just rush up A and take the after plan from there. So yeah.
Tessus, I'm curious how you have such a good read on, because you're sometimes that solo player towards A for your team, and how do you know what Astralis is doing? Like, are you putting in the work by yourself? Are you doing it with Hunden? Are you doing it with Cadian? Like, what's combining so that you can have such great game sense on that position?
Well, Hunden is doing a lot of preparation, which helps me a lot, especially on Overpass A, because he shows me all their setups, and I also look at some Shadow GD and watch their setups and how they like to play on A. So yeah, a lot of anti-strategy that it's really helping on that side.
Tessus, I got kind of a bigger question for you, because 2020 was a fantastic year for both you and Heroic, and now you're really at the focal point of desks like these, and a lot of the matches, the stats tell a great story. Anyone with eyeballs can see that you're really becoming like even better than you were last year, and maybe more versatile with some of the new kind of positions you play, or the way you play them. In coming out of 2020, that was already really impressive because of how fast you rose, but now you guys are so established, it really begs the question, Did you always feel like you were cut out for this level? And what was it like to play so many top teams in such a condensed period of time and play into 2020 and keep it up?
I've always thought that I would make it to the top at some point, and my goal has always been to dethrone Astralis on another team, and that I have accomplished. So that's really nice. And I have just worked hard every day. I play DM every day, 30 to 40 minutes every day. I don't skip any days, so I have always thought that I would make it to the top at some point, just to grind every day, and yeah, that's just what I do.
I have another question about your mechanical training tests because I think it's actually just safe to say at this point you have one of the best sprays in CS:GO right now. Are you focusing on that in particular when you're DMing, or are you going into recoil control, like that aim map or anything, or what's the secret? I need to know.
Well, yeah, I watched Elise YouTube video the other day with the recoil master and everything.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I did that kind